Welcome back to Métropole Grid. My name is Andre. How's it going? It's a Tuesday, October the 10th, 2023, year of our Lord, and we are only a couple days away from Worlds. Maybe even you thought it was this last weekend when the Null Signal Games Twitch channel went live. I think Jayax only streamed to the NSG channel. It's really funny. It lasted like 45 seconds. How's everyone doing? It's about to be the beginning of a busy week. I'm still here in Canada. We are going to enter airport tomorrow and fly across the Atlas Ocean to a world to which I've never been before. España. I'm excited. I'm really excited. It's going to be really good. Pretty hyped. Pretty hyped. Got my deck sleeved up, ready to go. How's everyone doing? Dave C. We got a Tuesday stream. How's it going? The C Source himself. Dave, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Lazy shoot in bed, sick as a dog. Open my YouTube and stumbled upon the Tuesday stream. What a day. Hope all are well today. Hoping you're well today as well. Hopefully you're feeling better. Sorry to hear that it is the way it is. At least you're in bed sick. That's one of the better places to be sick. So hopefully you get rest, get some liquids, drink some tea, eat some soup, get those good crystals. I want to like gradually transition into not real medicine. Hopefully you're doing well. Rosenheim, hard work done for today. Perfect time for Netrunner. Nice cold beer. Get well, lazy. Hey, it is. Yeah, I guess it's around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, maybe on your side. Are you coming to Worlds, Rosenheim? Also, enjoy your beer. Well done on the day of hard work. The labor should be satisfying on its own. We work for the sake of work. Bing Bonko, how's it going? I'm flying out in 16 hours. Time to make decisions. Yeah, this is the first Worlds that I've not gone to Worlds with my entire Netrunner collection. Even at last at last Canadian Worlds, which mind you, we drove, so it wasn't that bad. I only played Crown of Servers, and even then I brought my entire Netrunner collection, just so that at the last minute, if I wanted to make any changes, obviously proxies were legal back then, I was able to do so. And if anybody needed to borrow cards, which actually did come up, I had to lend some Lindsays out to some Snare Bears. Oh, the drilling outside is so bad. It just started 2 minutes ago, and it's killing me. Yeah, this is the first time where I sleeved up my decks for COS. I'm playing Eternal, and then I have this box here of alternates of like the cards I thought would be the ones that are most likely going to end up in my deck if I make some changes. So I'll proxy if I need to. But let me tell you, last night was absolutely maddening. I was sitting up watching the Neon Static live stream and going through boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff because if I'm playing Eternal, I want to play with the cards that I own. I didn't want to have to proxy because that's the point, is I can play with my old cards, and it was not worth the effort. Oh my god, it was so much work. Sundrin, how's it going? How are you doing? How's the little hog? Eastern Calculus wanted to shout out Trip Mirror, who's a new album out. Enjoy Worlds. Yo, Calculus, how's it going? Yeah, Trip Mirror just dropped ABR 5, right? It's 2 Ps on Trip Mirror. Yeah, so Trip Mirror has been putting out Netrunner music for a while now. It's a lot of the music that actually is used on like Null Signal streams. I think Jeff uses it a fair bit too on his. Always be running selections from Barhelion. This just came out today, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure. No, maybe? Is there a date on this one? October 9th, 2023. Yeah, this just came out. We used to use Trip Mirror a bit on the channel too. We've used it when we did like streams on Null Signal. Null Signal said like you can use it. It's quite good. Everything's like directly inspired by a card or an idea. So like Hypoxia is a song. I haven't heard this, but yeah, Trip Mirror. I'll link in the description. It's pretty great. I have a couple of the first albums. I think I have 1, 2, 3. If they're numbered like that. Great album. Nice. Veronica, got my TAI cards today. Yo, the European stress. Were you worried to not get them? Also, are you going to Worlds? You lent them Lindsays, you monster? I'm pretty sure the reason them Lindsays were lent out is because a dog ate the other Lindsays. No joke. Yeah, it's okay. It was a secret thing too. It's like, shh, give me Lindsays. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to ask. Hey, Changeling, how's it going? Good afternoon. Y'all ready? Good, thanks. Wish I was going to Worlds, but enjoying the hype. Yeah, okay, so speaking of hype, there's a lot of like stuff to go through today. Today's going to be a bit scattered. We have a deck list of the week. There's no stream on Thursday. There's a bunch of news that actually is like pretty important that we go through because there's some pretty significant changes to organized play stuff, which is really nice. One thing to plug though really quickly at the top is if you're watching this for any reason, go to twitch.com/nullsignalnetrunner. Again, if you're watching this not live, the link will be in the description. You just have to hit the more button where all the deck lists and all the other stuff goes. And you want to hit that follow button, subscribe button. Actually, you just want to hit the follow button. Subscribe is actually like a financial thing. You can do that if you want to. I don't have Amazon Prime on this, but notifications on and off. So the idea is that when they go live, as soon as Friday, you'll get the notification so you can be there. But yeah, it's a really important button. Same thing, obviously, for Metropole Grid. What's your preferred way to proxy cards? Spark. My preferred way of proxying cards is I go on Discord and I ask my friend Patrick Sklar, who has a printer. I don't own a printer. I haven't owned a printer in a really long time. They frustrate the heck out of me. So I know Proxy Nexus works. I think someone else just recently published or posted a proxy generator that works. I think Proxy Nexus was also recently updated with some of the newer cards because it didn't have for a while. But I think there's another site like Proxy Nexus that works the best. So the idea is that you can import a deck list. Hold on, I have something here I need to get rid of. Why am I seeing this? What is this? Okay, so that you can just like copy paste your deck list here, and then it'll give you all and print them in like a PDF they can chop up. I don't want to bum a stream. Not great. Thanks for asking. Alec, I hope you're doing all right. Sorry to hear that. Zombie, I'm on proxies because no cards received yet. Are you gonna pick them up maybe at Worlds? Because I know at Worlds they said that if you don't have your cards yet, you can just grab them there, which I'm not sure how that's gonna work. If you're gonna have 2 sets of cards or not. I'm not gonna Worlds, school too busy, and I didn't know I was gonna hit top 8 of EMA before the tickets were already sold out. Veronica, next year then. It's okay. You're doing quite well next year. You'll have even more year to train. That's really good. Bummer you can't make it out. Passing all my well wishes to stream to you. I hope you overcome whatever challenges you face today. Lazy, that's very kind. Hey Paul, how's it going? I was joking. Melias is a player, now a Canadian player, but a player from Montreal. And what happened with Melias and Canadian Nationals, there was a judge call, and it actually has an impact on the rules, which we'll talk to. But I like to call it the Paul clause, but not that, it says it there. But there is now changes to the organized play rules because of something that directly happened at Canadian National. It will always be the Paul rule in my mind, which is really great that they to have your mark on the game, and a positive mark, as much as like, it sounds like we're goofing on you. Printers are like the worst coming technology that didn't work regularly. Yeah, it's like really impressive how far we've got with technology, and printers still seem to be a bit butt. Dana, I still don't know when I'm going to play a Worlds, lol. No idea. You got a bit of time to sort it out. I think there's going to be like a lot of people don't even figure it out until after COS if you're playing the servers team tournament on Friday. So that's this whole idea of that a lot of folks bring their whole collection, or at least one person brings a printer and a laptop or something like that. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be, and I don't want to quote me on this because I'm not actually 100% sure, but last Worlds you could print proxies nearly on site. This Worlds, they're pretty strict at when the rounds start, so you have to make sure everything is ready in time. But you might be able to look around. Hey Vasilis. Hi live, just got swept by Radiant. What are you going to travel? When are you going to travel? I'm traveling tomorrow night. It's the first time I've been on an airplane and done like any big travel since, I want to say 2019, maybe 2020. So it's like, I don't know. I'm kind of stressed about it because it's been a minute. There's still a lot of stuff that has to be done here. Because the channel, we're not going to be live streaming for a bit. I need to get a bunch of videos ready. I think I need to get a video ready for tomorrow. I'm not going to get any videos ready for the weekend because it's Worlds, so you should watch that. And then we want to get 3 during next week. So I need to get 4 videos exported and online. And like, just web publishing takes a while. You have to do like the description and all the, it's a bunch of work, thumbnail and stuff like that. So it might be a really long day today. We'll probably still stream for 3 hours, but like, I'm kind of stressed, and not so much about the traveling, but all the stuff before the traveling. It's really weird. NSG cards are available for download as print to play. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, they actually have like a sheet you can just cut up. As much as you'll be printing more than you need if you just want to print a single deck. I think Proxy Nexus is best, but the other one gets updated faster since it uses NRDB images instead of the PNP PDFs. Oh, really cool. I assume next year won't be in Europe. I'm not close to Spain, but probably closer than alternatives. That being said, I'm considering going to the US at least once in my life. Yeah, I'm not confirming anything because obviously I don't know. I'm not in Null Signal Games, but it looks like they're bouncing between Western Hemisphere and Eastern Hemisphere. Classically, now it's just been North America and Europe to date. Whether there's ever going to be a Worlds in Australia, I don't know. It's probably pretty tricky for most people, as much as the scene there kind of slaps. So we'll see. But yeah, I think it's more likely that next year we will be in North America. I don't know if they're going to announce it this year, like at Worlds, to be like, we'll see you next year in. I think it takes a while for them to announce it. So, but yeah. I don't think it'll be in Europe 2 years in a row. They try and want to, balance it out. Hey, Pineapple. Hope it's going well. Thank you. Hope you're doing well as well. Last time I checked, Proxy Nexus was missing the NSG cards. I think they recently did an update, Zombie, but I don't think they still have everything. Hoping next year it'll be in Mexico or Brazil. We'll definitely go. Yeah, like that's a really hard thing. It's okay. So like, I'm not particularly shitting on Mexico or Brazil, but just abstractly, right? For Worlds, you need a place that is like easy to travel, that a lot of different folks will like feel safe and included to be there. You need to find a place that has a big enough scene that's easy to organize. Generally, having someone locally helps a lot. So like, I think it's really, really difficult. It's like I'd be really surprised if we also got like the sort of destination card game stuff. Like it's in Hawaii, where something that happens for like Magic the Gathering Pro Quests or like Hearthstone tournaments and stuff like that, where there's less players probably playing, but I think we'd be much more expected to see it like in Seattle or somewhere that is probably a bit easier for a lot of people to travel and has an established scene, which is a bummer because right, like having anything on the APAC side is probably important. And maybe if that's the case, like maybe APAC Continentals will be the one Continentals that's actually in person next year, because generally they want to do one Continentals in person and the other one's online. So I think that's probably what's going to happen, that we'll probably see bigger in-person events in areas that don't have in-person play classically, but then Worlds will still probably, unfortunately, be somewhere a bit more, less surprising. It's a bit of a bummer. So it turns out printers are really complicated. We're making them smaller, which makes them worse. Yeah, Toronto, how's it going? It's not the first time I'm making a rules mistake. I remember another GNK where I messed up with safety first. I'm learning to not rely on JNet the hard way, so I'm fine calling it the Paul rule. I don't know if sharing links, but I made a Worlds prediction game if people are interested. Solom, how's it going? Let's check this out. We got this far, Solom. Is this on us? This might be on you. Let me know if you can fix that. In case anyone cares about my opinion, play HB and Crim, jam agendas aggressively and run aggressively. I think Criminal is going to do much better than people think it is. I'll just leave it at that. I know a bunch of the testing groups have been like privately testing Criminal, and like very non-flashy Criminal is doing relatively well because a lot of the like sort of outfit decks, the Asa decks, all the sort of like kind of, mid-range jammy decks are not great into it. Well, like I think Criminal is probably the worst into stuff like Ag Confusion, and I don't know if that's gonna be well represented, but I think Criminal is a bit better than it looks. We'll talk about predictions before the end of the stream for sure. I'm really excited to hear what everyone thinks. It's also like that sort of time where people, are testing privately. So like the cool, Lamb Freedom deck we haven't seen. And mind you, last year, I think we had some good calls on what we thought would win Worlds. And we called some like really wild things that we expected to exist, but we hadn't seen before. So like Endurance Freedom was like one of our picks and came in second. I haven't been able to play lately because of work. If I wasn't Spanish, I wouldn't have signed up. Oh, that's so cool though. That's the best one where it's just in your backyard, because then you get to meet so many people just like kind of, on a whim. That's awesome. There's a lot of logistics I'm stressing about, even though I'm generally confident. Hell yeah. Hey Sven, I blame myself for the goof as well. Yo Sven, how's it going? I just edited through a bunch of your Top Cut games. It's really good. Hopefully you're doing well. I still need to send you a photo. I still need to respond to your very, very lovely email. But I need to give you a scan of your ABR code. Your CBI code. I'll do that. Please take care of yourself, Andre. Veronica, thank you. Let's both blame this judge. I'm hoping for Central US Nationals. Yeah, maybe. I'm surprised that Worlds wasn't going to be in Brazil. Wouldn't have been on point for TI theme. I think it's really difficult too. I don't know. I'm not too big of an expert in like, yeah, I don't know. I think there's definitely, I'm not actually sure how big the scene is in Brazil, but I'm hoping like the Tomlin initiative caused more, players in Brazil to pop up. Would love to have it in Scotland with the huge store space we have. Hey, Brightsize, I'm actually like dropping in. My partner and I are going to Scotland after Worlds. I've never been. I'm excited. Proxy and Access is updated through TA. Oh, droids, fantastic. They have NSG cards now. Printed some yesterday. Hey, Xavier, how's it going? Brazil only doesn't have a local scene. Otherwise, it would be okay to organize it here. Come to Denmark. We have beer. I would love Vegas, but to be honest, if it's in the US, it's probably going to be closer to the East Coast. There's a chance not, Chenchling, because like Toronto is relatively East Coast. There's a chance they might try and bounce it around as much as like Spain. And when was the first NSG Worlds? Was it in Belgium? Brussels? I may delete an extra character. Try this, okay? Scottish Worlds would be rad. All right, let's check out what this is. This is from Solom. All right. World's prediction buffoonery. Make your calls. Winners will get a text shout out at the admiration of the whole community. Forum closes at 10 p.m., whatever that time zone is. I wouldn't be able to tell you. Correct answers will be awarded points as described for the questions as a whole or the particular answers. Reach out to Solmstorm or Stim Slack or Discord with any questions or concerned. What's your username? Can I see what this is without like having to fill it in? It was in Rotterdam. Monty, how's it going? I played 3 games total between my decks, so I think I'm ready for Worlds. There's a lot of people in that camp. You don't have to submit? Okay. What's your username? Real name? Let's see what this looks like, and we'll prepare. You probably want to break from Netrunner by then, otherwise it'd be invite you to weekly meets. It's beautiful up there. Appreciate it, Bright Sides. Yeah, we're going to Edinburgh for like half a week, maybe? We've never been. Who will win Standard Worlds? 6 points for being correct, 3 if they make the cut. Okay. What runner faction will win Standard Worlds? What Corp faction will win Standard Worlds? Okay. Neutral's worth 10 points. I wouldn't take those odds. I think you could have made that 100 points. That's fine. Will a COVID-era world champ, Limes Rotom, repeat in either worlds? Whoa, that's a weird question. Are those the COVID era? Are we actually beyond COVID era now? Like, I thought we'd be at like this BCE kind of thing where like there's just beyond COVID era and before beyond COVID era. Currently typing from Edinburgh. Off to a pub Netrunner meet in 30 minutes. Yo, enjoy it. Yeah, we're still COVID era. I think we are. Well, so basically you're saying, will one of these 3 people win Worlds again? I think it's kind of like, how many of these people are even at Worlds though? Like, do we know that all 3 of these are at Worlds? I feel like there's some information here that we must know before we get this. Repeat doesn't win again, probably not. Too many good players. There's a lot of really good consistency. It's worth noting that there's only been one person who's won a World Championship twice in a row, but there's been a lot of people that have like top 16 multiple times. So it's difficult, but like a lot of these players are super, super consistent. I just don't know if all these 3 players are even going to Worlds. I think Sock is. Rotom, I'm pretty sure is. I'm not sure if Limes is. I think Limes is Colorado, right? Like I think Colorado has been like traveling for stuff. So Limes is. Okay, cool. What color sleeve will a Standard Worlds winner be using in deciding game of the cut? What about if it's not a color sleeve? What about if it's an overclock? What about if it's like Inside Job Toilet Man? Will Team Dog or Team Cat win Standard Worlds? Odd one out. Prob Bet Zone. What will be the lowest represented main faction across the entire standard event? It's funny how neutral doesn't show up here, huh? That's actually an interesting question. I would assume the lowest represented main faction will be Jinteki. Snare Sleeves will win World. I'm considering, so this is the first Worlds where I'm going to play an event, like first major Netrunner event, and I haven't bought new sleeves for it. And I'm thinking of just like cracking open an old Snare Sleeves. But like, I don't like how they shuffle. They don't feel great compared to like Dragon Shield mats. We're all spoiled. Tanuki, yeah, we're doing predictions. Solom Store posted a link in the chat. Maybe they can do it again. I didn't copy paste it. Let me just scroll up real quickly. But if you want to do this, the link will also be in the description. But you can do predictions if you want. Jinteki probably, unless someone else gets headaches when testing Arsana. I think Shaper has a big chance of winning Worlds. It's like really weird. Across all the runner factions, I don't have a strong preference. I think Shaper is really, really good. Thanks, Solom. You can get over sleeves. I think I would be surprised if Wayland wins Worlds. I think Wayland was super well represented. I think there's a lot of people there playing Comfort Outfit, though. I think Comfort Outfit, like on a 9-round event, no. I feel like you run into an Arsana, you run into an aggressive criminal, your win rate is like really, really bad. And that deck is so volatile, specifically that like you can just draw bad and lose. As much as you can draw well and win, I feel like after 9 rounds, your deck will probably even up. Predict neutral runner and win. Isabel's Ingenuity. How well will the Queen Bee perform at Standard Worlds? Oh yeah, this was posted. This is actually really funny. So there's just like ongoing thing about Queen Bee and getting B points. I read... Oh, I didn't read this on StimHack, but it's on StimHack. So basically, Sanjay, I don't believe it's going. So D is now the resident bee expert, which like apparently they're actually like a bee scientist or a bug scientist. So that's amazing. Yo, Phil, how's it going? So if you want to understand what Queen Bee is, basically there's a list of cards you can bring to give you B points in your deck. It has no, it doesn't matter if you win the event or not, but basically there's a list of cards that give you B points and an explanation why they give you B points. Some of them are a bit, It's a bit of a stretch. And then there's cards that are anti-B technology. As someone casting, I'm going to try and remember this list. I don't think we're going to shout a B too hard, but I think we're going to make a B point if we see a B card, especially if you see like, oh, they're playing Lotus Field. Like they're probably playing B points there. But then there's a couple anti-B cards. It's actually very small. It's only Kakugo and Rubicon Switch. And the Rubicon Switch text has nothing to do with Bs. I'm using what influence I have to oppose this awful card. This is called practice. Very, very funny. And Kakugo is also banned. So I think functionally there are no anti-B cards, right? Hey D, I am an entomologist, but I also specifically study bumblebees. I'm going to be asking D about bee stuff. I think they said that you can ask bee questions all you want, and you get this nice bee pin, which is really good. Yeah, the bee hold is actually really good. I think the other side of the card actually has like the legit text, so you can sleeve it the way you love. But yeah, this is really great art inspiration from Oga's. That's Paula, right? That's Lost Geek. D was already cool. Now D is even more cool. Yeah, tell me about it. Honey, mommy, daddy, suggestively named parent. Gold farmer. Yeah, there's a couple here that like you just like literally cannot play, but it's really good. Essa has been wrecking me with sabotage for weeks. I predict that she's not the right pronoun. It's like XI, right? She. I never know how to say it right, so I generally just say Essa. Apologies for that. I don't think Essa will be particularly well represented, and I think Essa also is like. Essa is the sort of runner in which you give your opponent the ability to play around you more than other things. So like good corporations will use sabotage to their benefit and will not be sabotaged poorly. So I think Essa is this one sort of the deck, and again, with all due respect, that does better at lower to mid tables and then kind of falls off a bit. Not that Essa doesn't have good matchups. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's hard. I think Essa is pretty difficult. D, what is your favorite obscure B fact you like telling people? Essa will be a good rogue deck. I think there's a chance. I just don't have huge like belief that Essa will do particularly well. I think there might be one or two S's that do okay. Play Gold Farmer than the B points. You will now win a lot of games during Worlds. Yeah, it'll be hard. It'll be hard. Essa 1 West Coast Nats. Oh, I always forgot about that. What does that list even look like? I don't know. Essa has, oh, so if you look at West Coast Nats, though, we did talk about this on stream, is that you saw the top cut of West Coast Nats. I think this was the same also maybe for Eastang. Maybe I'm thinking of Eastang more than I think of West Coast Nationals. But Essa has some really good matchups that are specifically like outfits really good. Yeah, it's Dave's deck, so we're not going to know. Because it's not posted. But we saw at Eastang where like Essa also did very well, but like Essa's really good into like outfit. Essa's really good into op. Essa's really good into a lot of stuff. Not exactly what this I would expect. Maybe a Thule in top 4 kind of helps you a bit. Yeah, but these are interesting lists. This is not like the sort of meta I'd expect where the top 4 is like Thule, Atea, R plus Asa, yeah, for sure. I got correct on stream because I pronounced the she pronunciation the Chinese way. And it sounded like she. Yeah. Yeah, XI. Dave never posted it. Beans. My granddad is a beekeeper. Does it give me bonus points? It might, but you have to probably produce the costume. Depends on context. But one of my favorites is that the queen is killed at some point by her workers in about 50% of bumblebee colonies. Like accidentally, D, or part of the master bee plan? Because at some point, leaves a lot for interpretation. Only one Thule top 4, definitely not what we expect. Oh, I'm excited to see if anyone plays Thule in top cut. Very intentionally. Okay, how will the queen bee perform? It's hard to say. I think to get a good answer in this, you have to look at all the B cards. Because let's talk about how good the B cards are. Like in terms of like standard competitive Netrunner. All B respect, right? No, maybe, no, okay. You can't play that. Don't play that. You actually, yeah. No, 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 yes. So like currently we're trying to find out what tier 1 deck can accidentally play all these cards. So like you can accidentally play Baya Vans in your deck, no problem. That's as far as we got so far. B1001 has a B in it, so it's pretty good. Beatriz, of course. These are not amazing cards. Wage Workers being 2 points is like gonna absolutely blow up most people's B points. Buzzsaw as well, pretty good. Yeah, so there's some cards I will see play, but like trying to figure out, I know like Morgan, Anzuke last year just put Isabel into their deck, even though it made no sense, but just to get B points. And I wonder if that ever caught up to them. I think we actually saw on stream that drawing the APIS Keeper Isabel was one of the worst things to do at that point in the game, and it might have cost them a game. But there's a lot of players too that just like play a competitive deck and just jam in like the highest B pointed card just to win the queen bee. Who won last year actually? Was it Morgan? Yeah, Formicary has anti-B points. Why is Formicary not on here? I thought Formicary was anti-B last year. Okay. I had one buy bands, one buys on 3 wage workers, which is just enough to qualify. Yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of people like that. If you play Wayland to get a sneak in a couple points. Yeah, it depends. I don't think STS is as popular as it used to be. Last meet before the main event, seen Barcelona. Tanuki, safe travels. Enjoy your event. Okay. Pouring out for the queens everywhere. All right, Regatta. How many boats will be in startup top 8? Ob and each copy of endurance count as 1, 2 points. This is actually a problem. Well, sort of. There's no top 8 in startup, but there will be top 8 players. So I think that's what that means. Morgan made top half. Okay. That's a really good question. I don't know enough startup to make a guess here. I don't think op is the best thing you could be doing in startup right now, but I think endurance is probably still worth doing. So if we're assuming on average, how many boats? So out of faction, you're seeing 2 boats. In faction, you're seeing 3 boats. So on average, every runner deck in the top cut will be on about 5 boat points. And if we're assuming 6 out of 8 in the top 5, that's about 30 points. That's the highest number. I think the highest number is relatively safe there. Because like, okay, so I don't know startup right now, but each copy counts as, Ob and each copy of endurance counts as 1, 2 points? Wait, what do you mean 1, 2 points? Each copy counts as 2 points, right? Putting Formicary in your deck and thinking it gives you B points has got a good way to get mocked by B committee and also get a cute ant pin by Sanjay, I know. The question is worth 2 points. Oh, okay, got it, okay. So this is actually, each one is only worth 1. Okay, so every copy of a boat card is worth 1 point. So if that's the case, then I think on average, in faction 3, out of faction 2. So out of the top 8, I think maybe 6 will be on endurance. So let's say that's about half and half. I would say about 18, yeah. Yeah, I would say about 16 to 20 is pretty safe. I think everyone's on endurance. How many ops will be in a standard top cut? Of the top cut, I think about that. I would assume that. I would be really surprised if op is the breakout deck. I think the op decks are really good. I think they're difficult to pilot, which is not great for an event of that length. They're not like, I don't think they're the most difficult deck to pilot. I think people overestimate how hard it is to play op, but I think it is, you know, a bit more taxing. I'm not sure if acid op is going to show up. If there's a good acid op deck, you could actually jump that up a bit higher than that. That's for sure. But I think the sort of like, you know, bath op water deck, everyone's been playing into so hard that unless criminal's really well represented and people don't have a way to deal with Stavka. Yeah, it's hard. The meta is very diverse, Veronica. I totally agree. Hey, Piotr, how's it going? I think it's a boat 16. Yeah. I don't remember. Were you at the startup tournament on Saturday? I think there's only 1 deck with endurance there out of 13 players. Yo, but Mango, there's also potentially a difference, right? Like if you go to a startup event, there's a chance that endurance won't be that popular. But then when you go to a startup event of this caliber, I think people might shift to what they think is the best deck. And on top of that, there's probably a lot of people playing startup at this Worlds that aren't startup players. They're just folks that like didn't, you know, make the top 16, make the top 32, but are at Worlds and still want to compete. So like last year, I know there's a lot of players, like one of my local meta mates made top 4 at startup. He's a good Netrunner player, but he doesn't play startup. So he just got a list and understood like endurance is good and played endurance. So I think we're going to see a lot more endurance, even if like startup players as a whole don't play endurance and everything. The sort of like, I'm just playing startup today players will be playing endurance pretty consistently because also for them, they can't play in standard. So it's kind of fun. What do you think the most difficult deck to pilot is? I think Shaper is pretty difficult to pilot really well. I think Arasan is a bit far more difficult than Op. Like the thing with op is like there's some expectation. I think people assume that there's so many different times in which you can trigger the ability to do something, and the thing is there's not. It's like, do you fire the board control? Okay. Do you play extract on your turn? Okay. But like something like Arsana and arguably Lat to some extent, but more specifically Arsana, you have so many more options on what to do, right? Like the fact that you can use SMC on their turn, on your turn, simulchip their turn, your turn. I think that one is probably the most tricky or the easiest to kind of mess up. I would say that. How many Hoshigos will be in standard top cut? It's kind of hard to tell. I would say less than 50, more than 25. How many players will bubble out of standard cut, be tied on prestige with the last number of the cut? Oh, I'm not prepared to deal with that question. I think it'll be a lot. Actually, no, I don't think it will be a lot. I think the ubiquity of 2-for-1s on day 2 means that the bubble is not as wild. If more people are actually playing their games, as soon as people start 2-for-1ing aggressively, which they are going to do, especially on day 2, you're going to get a lot more like kind of polarized results, right? Where there's not a lot of people that are like, oh, I ID'd and ID'd. It'll be like, I went 4-0. Because the only options to make day 2 or to make, real top cut part of day 2 is to go 4-0. So while there will be a lot of people that 4-0, it's not going to be like in a world without 2-for-1s. Yeah, more than 25, less than 50. I think folks were bringing not boat because it's much bigger meta, but there were multiple Dao and Hermes decks, including mine. Yeah, Dao Hermes also did really well at the startup event we had at CanNet. So I don't think it's like, I think that's actually interesting. Still learning everyone's real names, faces. Don't think we played each other, right? Hey, VT, how's life treating you? How's the Cat P? I was worried. Cat P is okay. We totally kind of just pushed it off. Right now, Nanako's adventure, she's living at my sister's for the next week and a bit while we're on holiday. And so we're getting her ready for that. So we postponed the testing till we get back. It shouldn't be an issue. What will be the win condition in deciding game of standard cut? Like the finals? Agenda points. I think that's a safe option. Agenda points. I remember mostly right now is around agenda points. I don't think anyone would ever concede the final game of Worlds. That would be pretty wild. But agenda points, yeah. What will be the largest your digital life played on stream in either cut and gross credits? On stream? Huh, that's a good question. I would say like 13 credits. Corp decking, of course. There are some metas in which that made sense. But I don't think we're at that meta. Like, that is the sort of play you saw top tables against, like, Reality plus Assets that didn't have a win condition. I feel like the decks right now actually have a better win condition. ESSA does some decking. No standard deck will allow ESSA. No competitive, especially top cut deck, let alone World Champion deck, like, will allow ESSA to deck them out. They have much more proactive game plans than that. 5 Rashida into Mando. I think you're more likely to see bacterial programming. So it would be 6 plus probably 6 to 7. So I think that's around 13, right? Because I think that's the only way that you get the really big what's YDLs is off bacterial programming. Well, yeah, let's just fill this out. Whatever. Why are we not doing this? What is your username? A Maverick. Let's go. Who will win Standard Worlds? Oh, this is the part I don't like doing on camera because I don't know. I don't want to show like I'm meant to be neutral. You're going to see my results. Okay, I'm not doing it on camera anymore. But damn. Real name. Let's just see the rest of the questions. I'll fill this out maybe privately. You can pass? Yeah, I might. But I feel like if we want to win, we want to answer everything. Okay, real quick. Hippo's Ire, how many standard top cut decks will be playing more than the recommended number of cards? Minimum deck size for runners, minimum deck size plus 4 for Corp. Top cut decks? 1 to 4. There's always 1 or 2 players that play 46. I don't think it's a huge difference. Just rate Sokka? I probably should. I just don't know how much Sokka's been grinding, because Sokka's been doing a lot of traveling this summer. And so, not to like, I think Sokka can do it. He's definitely one of the players who can do it. I just don't know if he's had the strongest season to be able to put in the work to do it. Scorpion's a safe pick. John, Netrunner will win standards. Name the card with the lowest non-zero number of copies in a standard top cut. 4 points, adjusted for play size. Oh, this is so easy to game this. You just show up and you put 1 copy of like the worst Netrunner card possible. Oh, it says standard top cut. No, so then you have to make the top cut. I think here you have to pick like a weird like tech card. I would probably play Light the Fire. I think there's going to be at least one player who slots Light the Fire in the top cut, whether it matters or not. I would say I would pick a card like that is like niche pocket playable that someone could convince themselves was the right meta call. Hijack Router, yeah, that's like a good FAO. I think those are actually really good cards. It's like Hijack Router. I think there's somebody who can convince themselves that like 1 copy of Hijack Router will be good, and then they'll do their write up to be like, oh yeah, I made top 9 at Worlds and it didn't fire once, but boy, did I have a good conversation in the hotel about it, right? Like that's the sort of card you put there. Are you going to send me a www? What do you mean, Phil? What does that mean? Wins EMA, not strongest season? And Intercontinentals, mind you. And Intercontinentals. Don't. Oh. Sorry, I messed up your data. This is really cool. Yeah, that's true, D. That's true. Sokka has been, but I know Sokka's been traveling, right? Like, I don't know how much time he's been grinding. Like, I know this summer was mostly him, like, going around traveling and stuff. And, like, I think, okay, how to, like, make it sound, how to be disparaging towards the expert play of Sokka. I think also Sokka is, as well, like, the deck that Sokka played at Intercontinentals and EMEA was like the obviously good deck. I think that deck is relatively good to play, like relatively easy to play. He obviously plays it very well. It's a good combination of cards to get him there. But I like, this is where I'm interested at Worlds, whether we're going to see, like, I think Worlds this year, we're going to see something interesting. Like, I don't know if it's just going to be like Asa Group 2 Anoetic 2 Managarm is going to win Worlds. I think there's a chance, but I think people are going to see it coming. And so I wonder if it's going to be like a combination of, you know, testing groups. And like Sokka's testing group is obviously very good, where there's going to be something, you know, on top of it. It's not going to just be like great play, but it's going to be like, oh, we figured out, you know, like low-key Ag Infusion type nonsense. I think there's a chance that we're going to see something interesting. I think the new set was so interesting in a lot of ways that it's hard to not expect that. Oh, I shouldn't close this so I can link the form. Yeah. Anyways, I think Sokka can do it. I think Sokka's a really safe bet. They're probably the safest bet. The ore got dropped off this year? No, what are you talking about? I might have to put Into the Depths for that one. That's a good pick as well. I do think there's going to be a couple Shaper decks that are playing Into the Depths. I think you saw Into the Depths, though, as like a 1 of or 2 of in some Arasana decks, so it might not be that uncommon. Lives to Doomblade. Min M won this year? What's that mean, D? Okay. Who or what will win Worlds? Oh, that's it. www. We'll talk about it at the end of the stream. I'm not sure. You want to do the deck list of the week? Let's get this done. Because we're no stream on Thursday, we'll play this deck. I'm actually excited to play this deck because I think, you know, the deck list of the week on Worlds is actually really relevant because some people just pick it up and play it. But seeing how to play the Acid Op matchup is something we haven't seen in a while, and it has kind of been like a dark horse deck that is quietly very good, but hasn't got like public, you know, mass appeal attention. So, for instance, the one that won Intercontinentals. Oh, Man in the Moon won Intercontinentals, right? Not Sokka. Oh, yes, excuse me. EMEA was Sokka. Man in the Moon with the deck that we wanted to talk about right now won Intercontinentals. That's MINM. So that sort of list was really interesting with a sort of like Angelique kind of Rococo. This one doesn't even have a Rococo though. Weird. I'm also like convinced. Okay, so let's talk about this deck. How beneficial from the perspective of mental fortitude is to play a relatively simple deck in event like Worlds. It's not so much the simplicity of the deck, Piotr. It's more attached to the amount of reps you've got with the deck. So you can play a complicated deck, but if you've played that complicated deck 100 times on JNet, you'll be able to see a hand, and then you're going to be able to understand the pattern recognition. And yeah, as Ranji says, being able to play the deck with brain off. So while obviously simpler decks will get you to that sooner, I think what's more important is not the simplicity of the deck. Like if there's a really simple deck, but I've never played it before Worlds, I'd rather play a more complicated deck that I have had the time to get the reps in. That's the way I see it. Because a lot of it's just pattern recognition, like just figuring out how to play hands. This is the thing I do as well, and I think it's super important, especially for folks who've been playing mostly on JNet, is sleeve up your deck and then put it in front of you, shuffle it, draw your opening hand, give yourself the idea, I'm playing against this matchup, how would I play this opening hand? And then mentally play out the first 2 or 3 turns, just so that you can have multiple situations. As many times that you see an opening hand, you'll understand how to play the opening hand, so that you just rarely find yourself in a situation at a Worlds, at any sort of organized play event, where you're like, I've never seen this combination of cards, I don't know what to do with this. Because you want to offload as much on pattern recognition. Like understanding an op when we draw like Hostile Architecture, Maryland Campaign, Reaper Function, understanding how to play that hand buys us so much time that we don't have to worry about it. So pattern recognition is the best Gibson novel. So I think that's really, really important. So do take some time, get some reps in as much as possible. I think the players who can play complicated decks at Worlds are playing it because they have a lot of reps in it. So Yeah, just get that in, sleeve it up yourself. Again, we talked about on the stream on CanNets, we saw like some Arsana play for the first time transitioning from JNet to in person. And I think if you just, you know, spend a couple turns pretending you're playing Arsana against the Corp, just to make sure you're getting all your start of turn triggers and like all that stuff, it's really, really important. I suggest doing that NRDB so you don't have to physically shuffle so much. Thanos, I'd actually recommend, so I do this. I do fishbowl a lot to see what opening hands look like when I'm building a deck, but I would 100% recommend actually doing it in person. Because drawing up 5 cards and holding them, let alone 6 cards, and understanding how to play this hand and actually doing it and doing your triggers. So like, especially with Op, it would be like, okay, our next turn, we'll res the Svigator, we'll res the Maryland, we'll gain 2, we'll trash the Svigator to get a 1-coster. Like that sort of physical card manipulation is so important. And you don't want to go to a Worlds or any event and not have to physically play your deck yet. Because it's actually a fair bit different. It's a fair bit different having to physically do something. It takes a bit of like, doing anything for the first time is a bit hard. So just make sure it's not your first time doing anything at Worlds. Yo, Lord Peacher, hola, how's it going? I think the mental stack relief from a simple deck is most prominent in mid-skilled players, my experience. That is where you get the greatest return from deck simplicity. Yeah, maybe. I do think also if you like want to have a chance at doing well at any event and you don't, you know, recognize yourself as a strong competitive player, take decks with high variance. I think that's like outfit is potentially a really good deck for that, because if you draw a really good hand in the outfit, you can just kind of crush over everyone if you just like win very quickly. And if you want to do well, but you don't think you'll do well, having a high variance deck is often your best way to get results. And if it fails, you can blame the deck, and we've learned nothing, and that's really good. Physical trigger practice makes sense. Yeah, no, it's a huge skill. I think there's a lot of people that are coming from JNet that haven't played in person. And the stress of playing in person, shuffling up against a stranger in, you know, in a foreign country, it kind of adds up. So you want to do as much of that as you can in person as well, as much. Even like, so I would ask my partner too before an event, I'd sleeve on my deck and be like, hey, can we just play like 2 or 3 games? And my partner, she hasn't played a lot of Netrunner this year. She knows the rules, and like she's not gonna, you know, probably play the sharpest lines that's gonna, you know, make anyone sweat. But just having the time to physically play the game, it's worth a lot. So if you can get that in, shout out to helpful partner. Me taking sports last year and going 2-5 with it. Surprise Pikachu. Yo, Steph, how's it going? How you doing? Hopefully you well. I remember playing Pawn Shop Conspiracy Exile at a tourney once. I played it a ton online, but it was different in person. I played slowly all day. Yeah, that sort of thing adds up. Okay, it's an op deck. Don't fear the Reaper deck. So we've seen these like acid-based kill ops for a long time. Reaper Function, mind you, is a card that is doing actually a fair bit of work across a couple of formats. And so if this is on the table, 2 net damage is a really important breakpoint, because most runners will be on 3 cards in hand, so they can die to a singleton copy to end a line. One thing that I'm actually really interested about this deck is playing a singleton Oppo Research. A lot of the other versions of this deck were running like 2 or 3 hard-hitting news back in the day, and Oppo Research is not that hard to fire considering we have 19 assets, so the runner will constantly be trashing things. But I'm in the camp that I feel like Public Trail makes so much sense in this deck, because there's so many situations where the runner has fewer than 8 credits. There's no meat damage protection in the meta. There's no like single tag removal that people are actually playing in the meta. So it could be relatively easy to do Public Trail and to end the line. Now, there's a difference between putting stuff on the table and giving the runner 4 tags once we're set up, and we don't actually hit threat 3 very elegantly with this, so I'm not 100% sure about the Opera Research, but I'm interested to see whether we want to do Public Trail or Opera Research. We'll see how that goes. Otherwise, the idea is that we can put unbearable stuff on the table. They have to deal with Urban Renewal. If they do or don't, you know, this is 4 damage, and potentially if there's a Reaper on the table as well. This deck has more ice than you'd expect, so it actually probably is going to be icing the assets up. We have Forma Carry, but no real good Forma Carry combo. It's more so that we can get this rezzed, and so we can Svigator it to get 1-costers. I think that's relatively fair. And then on top of that, if they do take the 2 net damage from that, that actually can be super important for the matchup. I've died to weird interactions with this as well. We're also on 1 Audacity and Aziev. Classically, when I play a lot of the op acid decks that are running Urban Renewal, I almost always will play at least 2 copies of Audacity, just on the basis that there is a bunch of times that a lot of runners will just tank the Urban Renewal and end with 1 card in hand. Heaven forbid they have a Steelskin Scarring. And then being able to close the game off with like Audacity into Aziev, and this one doesn't have a construction contract, which is another fast advance way. That is a nice way to close the game off. So we have a bit less of that. I think if that's the case, we generally want to put the Aziev on the table on the turn that the runner has to deal with Urban Renewal, because it's hard for them to deal with that and a bunch of other stuff at the same time. So yeah, we have to actually kind of like more aggressively push it onto the table, which is pretty interesting. Another deck with Virus. Yeah, that's actually going to be really interesting, Ranji, is understanding how much Virus we're going to see, how much Magnet we're going to see, and how much AI and like viruses we're going to see at Worlds. It's really, really hard to tell. because people have been like slowly cutting all their like Botulises and Amakuas, and then people have been dropping their Maviruses, and you know, and for what it's worth, like Mavirus is such a good card in op decks because it allows you to find 2-costers at instant speed. And what 2-coster do we have that's really good? Well, that's actually a problem, but you know what I mean. Third and I think people have been coasting off that everyone's playing Mavirus for a few months now. Yeah, and I'm really interested to see at Worlds. I really appreciate the Philly and NG metas for playing decks with me last few weeks in person. Yeah, it's so good. It's so important if you can get some time in to play in person. No one's playing NFL lately. Nobody's playing No Free Lunch lately. The tag decks that people are playing, like the big tag threat in the meta is 2 to 4 tags. So not really great. Hey, Renata, how's it going? Let's give this a shot. We have a singleton magnet. We have border control sandstone and 3 costs. So we can get an Afshara magnet or a sandstone if we pop our border control. We have a Jaguarundi, which is kind of fun. Taking a core damage early is pretty bad. The face check on this is relevant. This card I haven't played enough of, but it seems really fun. Oh, remind me about this because you can win a Jaguarundi playmat. Cool. We'll talk about that in a moment. 3x slash and burn is interesting. Also lets you SFA as if kill. Oh, that's totally true. Yeah, that's probably where we're playing less Audacity because we have access to that. That's a really good point, Ryan. Oh, and this is being shouted at as well. This is an interesting card. We have no way to produce this at instant speed, but this is the sort of thing that you get on a remote server with like Angelique, Garza, Correa, and then if they want to run it, they have to take damage, and then they have to consider trashing it, but everything they trash gives them a tag. So this is another way we can give tags. We have, again, no way of producing this at instant speed, but I feel like I've been poisoned by playing Op in Eternal too much to realize that we can't produce this at instant speed. But this is definitely a it's like a surprisingly good on-tempo card. The same way like Managarm is or playing Thule is. It's just like the amount of effort the runner has to put into this versus the amount of effort we have to put into this favors us pretty heavily. So that will work relatively well. So cute on the big playmat. Yeah, I know. It's really good. Very, very cute cat. Overseer Matrix from Orc tags too. I played this deck a couple times. It puts the runner in a really interesting fork where it almost always worse to trash an Urban Renewal that has an Overseer Matrix on it. And that's the thing is a lot of people let the Urban fire and they just hold like Steel Skins in hand. And if you do that, you survive. If it doesn't hit a Steel Skin, that's when you risk dying to slash and burn into Aziev. So that's good. Let's go. I had a coffee and a donut for breakfast, which is really weird for me. And I think I'm starting to feel it in my stomach. But Virus almost cost me a game in the start of tournament where I had good Conduit running, good riddance. And a lot of people are still in Conduit. Oh, we're almost on 1,000 decks. Let's go. Question that came up the other day. Does CityWorks combo with Daniela? As in if you put them in the same server? Yeah, they can die. They can die. Like, I do think you're going to see CityWorks and Daniela in a lot of the same decks. Drought. I don't know if there's any other combo specifically that you're hinting at. Drought, displace, destroy. I think we said the quiet part out loud there. Okay. Imagine eating food, can't relate. I'm actually kind of hungry. The problem is like we don't have a lot of food in our apartment because we're about to travel. So like we didn't go do a big grocery run. So you're at that weird point where you know, it's late night, you're eating like ramen with like cold red pepper. It's fine. Could be worse. That recent Reina list is actually kind of good. Jeremy, I'm not sure I know the recent Reina list. Yo! Credits is in the Montreal area. Used to play in Toronto. I think he actually lives in like a similar neighborhood. Plays really interesting decks. Does some really kind of interesting deck building. Oh, heck yeah! Tomorrow night. Yeah, it's really funny when you have to cross the Atlantic Ocean to see someone who I think lives in your same neighborhood. That's really funny. Thanks. Just wondering if the runner commits to access, you can res Danielle and kill them if they try to steal. Yes. And the big thing with, I think with CityWorks Project. Is the, it's not an additional cost to steal. So, it's harder. Yeah, I'm not on FB. We can do Slack. Opening hand against Hoshiko. We have an Angelique and Svigator. We don't have a really like tempo smash on the table opening. I don't think I love this. I'm gonna mulligan. I think that's a bit better. What? Why would it kill? Sorry. What kind of donut? Bart. It was a fritter? I think it's a blueberry fritter. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what I'm responding to exactly. So let's just get this one to hit the table. Something like that. Would ramen with warm red pepper be much better? I think so. With an additional cost, stealing should be after CWP on Axis. No, CityWorks is not additional cost to steal. CityWorks is when they access, right? When the runner accesses CityWorks, when it's installed, do 2 meat damage plus 1 for advancement. So if you have CityWorks and Angelique, they'll probably die. It's not like Obokata where they can say no thanks. Fritter's top tier. Fritter's pretty good. Uh-oh. Slash and burn. Our deck has a fair few agendas. I think we're on 10. We're on 9. Okay, actually not that bad. But just Paladin, Hoshiko. Daniela is? No. Oh, Daniela. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Angelique. Yeah, Daniela is an additional cost. So for Daniela, you can now choose. So Daniela into CityWorks is not actually a good combination. I thought we were talking about Angelique. Angelique into CityWorks is a good combination. Thank you. CityWorks is access, so I think they declined to steal, but take the damage from accessing. That is true, actually. That does work. They won't flatline likely, but they can refuse to steal it. But they'll still take the damage. So it is, you know, it's a complicated. All right, not great. We have all our agendas in hand. Best man on our stream. Thanks, man. Better than the Covenant. Well, that's very kind. We'll do. I think we want to get this scored out. We have, you know, half of our hand. Facebook status, it's complicated. I haven't been on Facebook in many, many years. It's a great combo. They take the damage and they can't steal it. Yeah. The thing is, like, if you put an upgrade on a CityWorks project, you have to assume that it's going to be like an Angelique anyways, which means if you don't have 6 cards or whatever you need plus 2 in hand, you shouldn't steal it anyways. This is a good run. After Rashida. Yeah, as yeah. At least we're on threat 3. Angela can maybe kill, but Danielle will never kill you. Yeah, Danielle, they have to like mess up real bad. But the thing is, like, yeah, if they have an upgrade, I don't think you make the run. All right, I'm not going to fire the Rashida because we want to score out this. But we'll take their 8 credits. Okay. That was a 11 credit swing. Seems good. Overseer Matrix. You want to trash it here if you want to trash it. Right now the fermenter is like, that's a hard thing, is that we don't have an instant to purge there. So the best thing we can hope for is we don't have a breaker. And I don't really want to do slash and burn. Here we'll do the Rashida for sure. We don't need to shuffle our deck. Okay. So this is the problem, is like, wow, in terms of spin doctors, we have spin doctors, right? In terms of the spin doctors, we have those. We don't have drudge work. So we could do magnet, but I think we hold the slash and burn. But this is the problem, is like, if we transition to the urban renewal, we'll have 2 urban renewals synced when the Maryland fires. I think we're probably going to lose an R&D sooner than that. So if that's the case, I think we can just put this in server 1. I think we need to ice up R&D, ice up HQ, and hold. We could get a Svigator, but I don't think we need to. It gets us only 1 more credit than the Maryland, which is what we'd likely trash. Excited for Covenant Earthborn Rangers? I've played Earthborn Rangers, like, I feel like years ago when it was in early access on Tabletop Simulator, and I don't think I loved it. I have a friend locally who has a copy though, so I'm excited to try it out. But I felt like we had a long conversation about Earthborn Rangers. That being said, there's so many games I've tried on TTS that like I've bounced off of really hard. Don't mind that. That were better in person. Urbans won't be synced. Oh yeah, you're right. Checkpoint rule. They won't be synced. That's huge. 1 will be 1 off. That's actually better for us, I think. So Maryland campaign up 1 cost. Overseer Matrix on top of this is actually kind of interesting. We don't have the kill in hand. Boo. I have to treat for your viewers. Restream. Interesting. So I don't know if we go for the Overseer or not. I don't think we do. He has a lot of money though. Yeah, let's do it. We'll get this one. Shuffle Maryland, yeah. Okay. Love a treat. So this is where we can set up the table a bit. So we want to get the Svigator down. The Forma carry is probably fine here. We want to install this so we can start doing ping damage because we actually can't afford it. This is where like having no gaslight, the upper research to me feels a bit random whether we get it or not. Let's get this on archives. We'll get this in a new remote and a new remote. 50-50 on HQ. I find it only really enjoying playing games in TTS if I already know how to play. It's a bit painful to learn a game in TTS. I use TTS often to like learn games to see if I'll like them. But like Marvel Champions has been one of my favorite games for the last really long while. And like I played it on TTS for the first time, really didn't care about it. Actually, I played it in person. And then I ended up playing on TTS and actually did like it. All right, this is what I'm expecting from Eric. Is some sort of interesting card like this. He often plays like really strange stuff in his deck to deal with some sort of meta issues that he, comes up with. Your Agni of Mercs is, going to be one of those. So that's kind of fun. TTS teach better than the BGA teach. All right, that's good. The Plascrete. The closest we have to Plascrete in the format. Really fun. As much as that cost him 2 clicks and 2 credits because they gave him a tag. They cleared it. So we'll get rid of that. Op. We'll get a 1-coster. We'll put an Urban Renewal on the table. Shuffle Maryland. You got it. So here we have to actually start fast advancing out. We have an Angelique. That's good here. I think we can put Angelique on top of this one. Don't really have much else to do. Draw. So this one's going to go off, and then that one's going to go off. We have 1 Formicary to move over there already. I think we can draw once more and just install this on top of it. Is this better than Boarding Control? I think so. Need to eat a few Formicaries, yeah. Earthborn Rangers is such a wholesome game. Hopefully Solarpunk Future. All the cards are particularly sustainably and journally and some specific method, and there's no plastic package. Yeah, Ian, there's a lot of really cool stuff about Earthborn Rangers, for sure, in terms of like the production. Uh-oh, HQ pressure. Just want to install once a turn. Losing the Unity, though, might have been a problem. Seemed like a 1 in 6 there. Played a couple TTS games where the automation made the game better than real-life counterpart. That's true as well. It's a magnet. So we're going to res that. End the run. Losing a Unity feels bad. Would Plascrete be seeing play today? I don't think so. But I just don't think there's enough in the meta that requires it. So let's see what's going to happen here. So we can get a 0 cost. We might actually purge this turn. Okay, so we're going to do this Urban Renewal first to see what happens. Oh, we have to do this first. I think we can get... Angelique is unique. Svigator, Rashida, Spin Doctor. I don't actually want the Spin Doctor. This will res the Angelique, though. That's a problem, because then the other one's useless. Yeah, Rognev, yeah. Tell me about it. Hey, Elwin, how's it going? Today's theme, Decklist of the Week, talk about worlds. We have some, like, news to go over. So we took 2 off the Yarognev, a couple from hand. So Urban Renewal, I don't really want to Urban anything. I think we actually have to score the Slash and Burn. Is there... I never knew how to pronounce that card. Yarognev? Yarognev. The W's generally are kind of more like V's, because there's no actual W's in Slavic languages. But for that, what it's worth, I'm coming in from a Slovenian angle, which is a bit different. But I would say Yarognev. All right, we have to score it. We could consider purging there, actually. That probably would have been better. I think we do purge. F that. Hey, Pink. Hey, Baza. How y'all doing? A lot of their money was tied up in that, and there's another problem on the table they have to deal with. I learn games by watching videos like Rodney's Watch It Played and John Gets Games. I'm not familiar with John, but I'm very familiar with Rodney. My first play is almost always on TTS to avoid buying a game before making sure it have legs. I think that's a really big thing, is like testing something out before you like it, as much as, I don't know how people feel about that all the time. Res and move Formicary. I don't actually think we need this Rashida. Today's going okay, hoping for cooler weather over the week. Relatively cold where we're at. We're gonna eventually lose to the twinning on HQ unless we ice up. Okay, so now Carmen's down. Here we would like an Oppo if we had it, but we have no Gaslight. Hostile? Oh damn, I forgot we had Hostile. Yeah, we should have res Hostile for sure. It could have actually got this. Yeah, that would have 100% right. We just checked out a bit. All right, we'll do the Urban. We'll see what happens. Install a 0 cost from your deck. I think here we can do a Spin Doctor. That's fine. Okay, Yorognev is done. Choose a target for Sfia de Gore. We're fine. Oh, that's actually really good. So we top like an Aziev, we can get lethal. Yeah, we should res that one for sure. I don't know if he'll trash it, though. So we want to get 1 on top of the Angelique. That's for sure. I think we keep this in our hand because it's our fast advance piece. I think we want to get 1 in server 1. And then I think we put the Formicary on, I guess, HQ. I've been suffering from high heat last few weeks. It's rain yesterday was nice. I think it's going to be pretty warm in Barcelona. Jarogniew is good. Source Polish. Nice. This Hordem we res. And then we have a res Hordem. He probably only has 1 more Unity in his list. We'll see how that goes. But now our win condition here, we have 2 Reapers. The Earthrises have been really good. Isn't it better to put Formy on a server without ice to save a credit? Yeah, we put 1 here. But you're right, we put 1 there. That's not great. We could have put it somewhere else. But then it's Formicary on the inside versus the outside. Yeah, you probably could have just put it anywhere. I think you're right. So here, we have a chance to do lethal. If it's Reaper function to Reaper function, we have to top deck 1 of the 2 SEFs. Do we have a 1 coster we can trash? Yeah, there's a chance that we can push it here for the flatline. What we have to do is we have to do Reaper into Reaper. So I think the first thing we do is okay. So the one thing that we have to do is we have to get an AZF in our hand. We haven't seen a single steel skin yet. And I think, you know, Eric is just going to hold steel skins, which is a problem. So we probably have to push for the remote server because we haven't seen a Fractor yet, but Gachapon could easily be it. So if we do Reaper into Reaper, we could see what the damage hits first. And then if that's the case, we can like use Svigator to trash the 1 coster to get a Spin Doctor on the table to see even more cards. I think we'll start with that. But this is like potentially, you know, a lot of damage that we're going to waste because as soon as we hit 1 steel skin, we're done. So I think we do this one first. We'll do this one first because we want the remote server. So 2 costs from your deck. What 2 costs do we have? The deck doesn't really have any 2 costs. Hit a Strike Fund. Divide and Conquer. I found the trait. So if we do this one now, we put him to 1 card in hand. Angelique does 1 damage. Reaper eats up trigger only if we choose it to, because it's not the first time, it's just once per turn. No? Alright, another Strike Fund. So 1 card in hand. So he had a steel skin in there. Okay, so not good. So here we got nothing. We have nothing. I thought it was the first time for some reason. No, yeah, this one's a bit, you know, more charitable. So what can we do here? Like, this is kind of butt. This is not good. I feel like Divide and Conquer should see more niche play. It works with twinning, but not like in the busted way. It works fine. It works with Wake Implant, I'm pretty sure, fine. Because it doesn't care about a run on RD, it cares about a breach. But our hand is pretty bad here. I feel like we have nothing really to stick inside the Overseer Matrix besides like using our Spin Doctor to put down our 1 costers back in the deck. I'm casting. Huh. I don't know how to close this out. Like, we have to score out, but this agenda is like not the one we score out with. So we can always extract a 1 coster. Like, the Overseer Matrix doesn't do anything, so we could get a Spin Doctor. I think we will do that. Because I think grinding through Urban Renewals is probably the way we win, as much as we hit 2 of those. Paying 6 credits to give the runner 2 cards and 4 credits seems awkward. Yeah, tell me about it. Didn't feel good. Reaper plus SZF, that was our line. It did not work out, though. So we're going to extract this, because this doesn't do anything for a scoring remote server. We'll install a 0 coster, be a Spin Doctor, so 6 credits, draw 2. Okay, well now we drew something we want to jam on the table, but we'll put that in there. So we'll put this in server 7, and then we'll put this on server 1, which is where hopefully we're going to draw an agenda we actually want to score out. I really wanted a 2 cost dice in my op, but Whitespace wasn't cutting it, trying out Authenticator lately. Oh, weird. I think I'd only want to play Authenticator if I cared about tags, but maybe it is annoying enough. The 2 cost slot is really awkward right now in op. Oh, that's pretty bad. It's like, yeah, it is pretty bad. Formicary only costs 1 credit, so our Formicaries are only good to move on the basis that it gives us a res 2 coster. But with the Svigator going down, yeah, we probably should have res one of them sooner. It's actually useless. I don't think we're gonna do that. You're playing Eternal from COS? Yeah. Yeah, I'm playing Eternal. So now you have to trash the Hostile. Yeah, this is what happens. You have influence for Thimble Rig. It's a decent 2 cost, but I don't know if it's better than White Space. It probably isn't. I'd be really surprised if it was. Because the positionality of ice is not so important in the matchup because you just, destroy your own ice. But yeah, we're like in a really bad spot. But like, Credits is playing this well. Speed Sagor. It survived. Oh, it did survive. So we should have res the Formicary protecting the hostile so that we could get another hostile on the table. Yeah, we kind of bonked that a bit. Jaguarundi actually relatively okay into Carmen. You only have to break it for 3 credits, but threat 4 is online. That's kind of cute. But we still just don't have an agenda. We don't have an agenda that we want. What's with that? Okay. What do we want on the table? Another hostile is interesting. As much as we res it, we're kind of bankrupt. So I think I'm going to go for the Maryland. We don't have enough money really to do much here. Would Formicarying out spun Urbans be a reason to res? Yeah, exactly. That was it. But first, when credits ran, he challenged the Svigator. Once he bounced it to go deal with the hostile, that's when we should res the Formicary. Because it was the last click, so we know the Svi is going to survive. So yeah, it was 100% correct, I think, to res the Formicary on what was like server 5. But resing on the first one wasn't probably correct. For what it's worth, it's kind of weird. It's like, do you want to take the 2 damage trashing the Svi, or do you want to take the 2 damage trashing the hostile? So I think you just trashed both. Because I think credits just lost a click there for no reason. Right? Because if you're going to take the 2 damage, you might as well do it on the Svi, because this is not every time, it's only first time. And like now, these are very bad trades for us. If we res Formicare, we go down to 4 credits, which means we can barely score out. So I don't think we will. Yo, Cody, how's it going? You heading out soon, I take it? Yeah, this is like the midpoint of like, Hoshigo deck that's still really good at dealing assets. We're 1 credit short for Hostile Angelique. Yeah, but we can't do Hostile Angelique. It's way too expensive. The best thing here is like we haven't seen a Fractor yet, but on 4 credits, if we res the boarding control, maybe we'll get 2 back, but this is not good. Here, I think we have to Svigator the Maryland, which is totally fine. Unless it goes down for free here, which it could. I don't want to res it. This is the last click, actually. We should res and move a Formicary, because we'll Svi it. Yeah, we will. Extracted probably makes Formicary res still good. Yes, but we don't have an Extract right now. But with the Svi, we'll be fine as well. You can Svigador for me for money and 1-coster? Yeah, we will. We just wanted to do a last click. Because we couldn't res the border control on their mode server, which is probably what we want to do. And this is like the strength of twinning. It's doing so well. It allows you to build pressure while also dealing with the board. That's so valuable. So 1-coster, not really doing much. Our deck is really thin. If we score this out, like, what are we trashing? What are we trashing with this thing? We have to trash something. Yeah, what the heck are we doing? I guess it just lives in there? We have nothing good to trash. I think we're way too far. It's way too late game for us to be really, really powerful. And we ended up trashing a bunch of our like combo pieces. The Svi? I guess, but then we don't get a negative 1-coster. Like ideally you're scoring this out to push yourself forward. Like we don't want to go down to 2 credits to do 2 damage. Like it's just not worth anything. This is kind of useless, but like this is a really, I think, really low tempo play for us. Like in theory, you want to be always pushing yourself forward. Here we push ourselves backwards. We did hit a cleaver though. That's kind of cool. I feel like we can't afford, like I do wonder if this is probably the way that we do win the game, but we just can't afford to do anything with it. It's just like we're on 2 credits and we still have to score out a 5-3 here. The deck has no hostiles, right? Yeah. Might have been worth using the slash and burn and then installing the UR. Oh, we had a slash and burn in hand. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot we had a slash and burn and spin doctor. We probably should have, yeah, we should have slash and burned it to save a credit, like a seamless launch, and then put something on the table. I think you're totally right. Yeah, I think that was a botch. And now we're like so far behind. Like we lose from here. How many cleavers in the bin? That's the first one. 1 unity, 1 cleaver. But yeah, we're gonna, and the unity's now down. We're in a really, really bad spot. Like 15 credits, loaded up, twinning, above the laws out. We just don't really have a line anymore. Trash Hordem to get Sandstone? I don't think we're really worried about it. Like, it's still really expensive to get through this. Sandstone eventually will be a problem. But, like, we can't really stop the twinning. We're just going to, you know, make the twinning happen slower. I guess it might have been an option that was, like, more tempo positive. But we only saw the cleaver trash after we scored out. So we didn't even know what was better. It was actually probably worse because we saw one unity, but we saw no cleavers. Yeah, this is real rough. We don't really have anything going on for us. Like, we have to click 3 credits, maybe? And now we're going to get R&D locked. Yeah, I don't think you win late games with this deck. We did make some misplays that might have been important, but, like, you know, Yarognev is just one card that I think opens up the matchup so much. And obviously holding Steelskin Scarrings as well. But yeah, this is going to be really difficult. We'll play another one with this, but, like, I don't know. I so often find that these sort of decks, right, like the good runner deck playing fundamentals against this does crush it out. Because it's difficult to produce a board state that they can't deal with if they, like, if as long as they, you know, put the right amount of effort in the right places. So this could be 3 on our HQ. I'm actually pretty happy with that. Are there many late game op lists? Potentially, yeah. We don't see them, but I do think, like, the Managarm combination could work as late game op deck. Some of the rushy decks you can play a bit slower if you want to. Hey, Maddie. Big fan of the show, returning player here. Welcome back. How's it going? Yeah, welcome back. It's been a really good spot. Worlds is this weekend, mind you. Foreman carry and a line Jaguar Undy. Nice. So we wanted him to spend as many counters on this as he can. Losing the Taka 2 means there's only so many more installs on Paladin. So the twinning, maybe there's another Miss Bones. That would be kind of rough. Okay, now we're going to lock the top 3 of the deck. For what it's worth, with the Svigator or the Spin Doctor, we can shuffle here. So I think if you're going to go for the lock with the twinning, you probably want to deal with the Spin Doctor sooner. That being said, I think we need the Spin Doctor for the slash and burn. So we're going to get another barrier there. Yeah, 1 cleaver out so far. This is relatively taxing, though. This is 4 credits to break. Eventually, it'll be 3. We could res the Formicary here to cost a credit. It gets another card out of the deck, though. I don't think we want to do that. Looking forward to watching Worlds matches, working my way up to Standard. Oh, yeah, Standard's really great right now. Hold. Damn. Okay, we didn't lose. So you either install something here or lose Paladin. Or lose another installed card. It's hard to lose one of these installed cards here. Maybe the Waken Plant can go. But if the Paladin goes, the twinning goes, right? Because I don't think the list is on 2 Takas. So that's probably the best thing for us. This is the sort of playing in person, playing on Jaina card that, like, does change in what it does significantly, which is funny enough. Yeah, all right. Twinning might actually be reasonable. So getting a 2 cost ice doesn't really exist. Getting a 3 cost barrier could be fine. There's a cleaver somewhere in the last couple of cards, and cleaver is broken for 1. This is currently broken, even at best case, for 3, which, like, there's not that much more money in the deck. I don't know actually if we do end up Svigatoring that. We know the top 2 cards of the deck are safe, so we have a minute here. I don't think we are going to res that. The deck has 2 end the lines. I forgot about that. Like this. We have gone through no liberated counts. I don't think the deck is on it. We've gone through 2 daily casts, 3 daily casts, 3 fermenters. That actually might be a lot of the money in the deck. We have to watch out, though, obviously, for the Waken Plant. So even just resing the Formicary is going to be worth it. We'll res it after to give less information. You can still eat face downs for cash. We can, but, like, yeah, arguably we should. I just don't think we can win without a remote server because we can't fast events out all the points in the game. So I don't think there's a face down we want to get rid of. Why not install the hostile? It's better than credit with SVG. I don't know if you're watching live. We don't have a hostile. You might be behind on the chat. Leaving tomorrow? I am, yeah. Actually, are you already gone? Great, Schlata, Dirty Deeds area. Good Netrunner afternoon. Just scored a new job. Yo, congrats. That's sick. Good game. I'm surprised. Yeah, 20 for 0 additional cards. That makes sense. Lemao. Yeah, this divide and conquer actually doesn't do much, but open archives is an issue. Yeah, we were a bit behind the ball. I think the Yarognev, like, single-handedly won the game. Yeah, that was the only genuine play. Yeah, this actually doesn't do anything because the HQ is safe. The top of the deck is safe. Yeah, just stunting for sure. Thanks for the game, eh? Is the last turn you credit, then discarded the infrastructure? I don't think this is better than a credit. I think the credit is a credit, and this is a card that we can't res for the rest of the game. We could maybe Svigator it. I think that is, yeah, the one thing that we could Svigator it so it's like 3 credits, and then we would be in slightly less than the turn. Yeah, maybe that's fine. Just burning any card is better than discarding it. I think that's fair. Yeah. Hey, Neon, how's it going? This is a stream last night. If I recall correctly, Izzy ran Sadaka to kill the twinning. It's been very effective in that in practice. I think in Wayland, there's probably a couple ways you can deal with the twinning. I think the way that I want to deal with the twinning is just play faster, which is not a problem in Wayland. The big reason why Izzy ended up playing, you know, obviously ask Izzy, but I think the big reason why Sadaka ends up in Ag Infusion is that deck is very slow. And so it's easy to like, you know, twinning is very good into Ag Infusion, where like one good run on HQ wins you the game. In this case, we want to go faster, and Sadaka out of faction is not amazing. That being said, it does trash itself though, which is kind of cool. So it does work. It does work with op. It's kind of cool. I'm wondering if there's going to be like an internal list that's just like all the trap cards that trash themselves in op. I feel like the deck probably runs out of influence really quickly. Hey Gustus, how's it going? Dan as well. How you doing? Stream last night was a blast. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I wrote in the Discord, but I was like going through all my boxes to like build my Eternal deck, so I was only, you know, I think 40%, 50% attention. But it looks really fun. Fewer big rules mistakes. Have you guys cheated yet? Hey, hey. Best of luck. Have fun. Another matchup I don't know if I feel great about. We have to ice up HQ. If they play a Miss Bones, if he plays a Miss Bones really early, we're in a really bad spot. But this is like hard to make a tempo positive hand off of this. Sadaka's a 2-cost of trashes, which is big for op. Yeah, it's not bad. It's definitely not bad. I think it's Sadaka's those like 2 influence, which like I don't think is the most important thing you want, yeah, in the deck. I feel like that is, it's a thing you can do, but it's not a huge weakness of the deck. Also, a lot of the Anarch lists are only on 1 twinning, so like if they find it, they find it. You just want to go faster. I'd rather spend the influence on like closing the game on the way that we want to close the game. Don't love it. That's probably better and worse. Thanks to the replay video from Cannats. Watching myself lose wasn't as bad as I thought. Oh yeah, you played Hoshiko, huh? Glad you liked it. Was it hard to watch? Were you considering like not watching? I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna watch that. Forget that. Diversion of funds is not good for us. I think whatever ice we put on HQ, it doesn't really matter what we show. Having a Forma carry as a surprise is okay, but like it'll get boomeranged unless it's a border control. I just don't think we can have a scoring remote server until we get border control. And now without a virus, like Amaku is just absolutely like a run train. All right, we'll just go. How we will border control HQ. It's better in op than anything else. I cheated so bad last stream, took 5 credits. I haven't kept it by accident. Double charged environmental testing, single hush. It happens all the time. It happens more than you think. Like even on, you know, recorded games, top tables, stuff like that happens. But it's hard to play the game and obviously interact with chat and like, you know, do all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it is decklist of the week, Maddie. It is an op deck with a couple cards that will hurt the runner. Once I started face planning on the day, did not want to see the VOD. I think face planning is okay. I think Kyle did do a lot of really good stuff to force you to, you know, to not do the thing. Diversion of funds is not good for anyone. It's not amazing here for the runner, right? Like we just res the ice. So mixed bag. I think the one thing we're worried about here is a Miss Bones. That would be the worst case for us. But there's at least no steel skin scarring. And if there's a Hermes, I think we're happier with Hermes than we are with like Paragon or all the other stuff. I think one of the criminal lists that did recently pretty well in an event was on Swift. Maybe it was a Ken deck. It did okay at an event. Yeah, okay. I wouldn't say the game is over, but the game's kind of over. I think the game is over. Because now our ability to like tax out the runner, we can't. Because they had a 12 credit play on turn 1. Miss Bones is brutal. Not only career fair Miss Bones. Yeah. And I do think there was a bunch of times in the last game where public trail into end of line actually is lethal because all the things that we do force the runner to have fewer cards in hand. It wouldn't be here because not only 8 credits, but less than 4 cards in hand and we don't have the money. But like I actually think that kind of line is pretty good. Yeah, this is really bad. This is a really low tempo start. Like, we got nothing. Kidnapping Bones feels so good. Malia just feels great in general. The thing with Malia is, like, you have to protect Malia. Otherwise, they just, like, trash the Malia. So it just delays Miss Bones. It doesn't actually do that much. I'm more interested in playing Malia when it turns off, like, an important card for that run, something like that. So it's a speed bump. And yeah, Amaku and Noma Virus, like, we can't purge out. I think we're totally cooked on turn 2. Like, this is an issue too. It's like, as an acid-based deck, we don't have hedge fund, we don't have anything. So if we can't control the table, we will generate no economy. If we generate no economy, we can't get ice on the table. If we can't get us on the table, we can't stop Amakua. So this is a big thing where, like, you know, aggressive player thrice hotel criminal decks, like, probably will get away without getting hurt too bad. Like, we have to put Maryland behind Jaguarundi. This is where we're getting to. If you win, this will be amazing. Yeah, I kind of want to concede this soon. Pay 1 credit. Because we're like, we are not able to make plays. This is the big issue. It's like, we just don't have the ability to make a play in a long time. Needs more wake-up call. Yeah. Under the bus wake-up call. That hurt him. Cool. The okay thing here is if they steal agendas from the top of R&D, we don't draw the agendas. Like, that sounds, you know, like us feeling okay about things being poor, but that's actually like a really big thing. It's like them stealing agendas here. That's the worst possible card we could draw. So instead we could draw an asset. Here they can break the boarding control. We don't have a huge incentive to res. It puts us down to no credits and we can't threaten the Jaguarundi, but they're at strength 3. Like, there's no ice that they, yeah. We res for... I'm going to concede. Do you think we can concede on this one? Do we look bad? But, like, we're going to be on 6 credits for the whole game. Yeah. I don't know about this. Levitea versus 419. Jeremy, how's it going? I've played so little 419. So now our ice is useless. We res 1 ice, the game is over financially. Miss Bones still has the word. I keep trying to find the fast forward on this live. I am being 100% serious. I'll take that as an insult. Thank you. This is brutal. Yeah. So paying 1 credit, like, Amaku deals with every single ice in the deck now, barring the one of Sandstone, but there's just 1 bounce for that. Yeah. But yeah, it's over. Gotta slow down and steal all servers and purge. Maybe 4-9 is generally slog. The thing is, we can't afford to do that, Ren. Because we have no economy. So, like, we can res 1 ice. Once we res 1 ice, we're on 2 credits. So then we have to install another ice here, spend another turn clicking for credits, install another ice. Then we have to click for another credits for a whole turn, install another ice in archives, and then we have to purge. By that point, it's turn 7. We have flooded up. We have no economy once we've resed all our ice, and they'll probably find actual breakers. Probably afford to let them see Formicary in archives, then Urban the remote. We can't really do anything with this Formicary. They break it for 1 credit, so it's not a good trade for us. Right? Like, this is all that's going to happen. No economy sounds like the country I live in. Jakun, how's it going? Johnny, by the way, how you doing? Like, they haven't even finished the 1 Miss Bones. The 1 Miss Bones haven't been finished. The thing is, like, even if we prevent the expose on this urban renewal, they still run it. Like, there's nothing that they wouldn't run. There's no, like, snare. There's not that we can afford snare, right? Like, there's no reason not to. Looking forward to meeting Yo Worlds. Hey, cheers. That's actually a really big thing, and I'll reiterate this in a bit. I am not a very outgoing person. I'm not like, you know, I'm not great at small talk. I'm not like the person who goes in and introduces myself to people, for better or for worse, right? Like, not great. Keep that in mind. You will find me at Worlds. I'll be wearing a shirt that says my name on it, a Maverick, or on Friday I'll be wearing a Metropole Grid shirt. It's bright red. Come say hi. Please come say hi. I'm also really bad at, unfortunately, there's gonna be a lot of folks that, you know, maybe I know your handle online or we've met years ago. I'm not really good at remembering faces. Huge apology for that. So please just come say hi. I am never not excited to talk. I might be wearing a mask. That's not a reason not to, like, come say hi. Just keep that in mind. Please do be friendly. Come say hi. Really excited to meet everyone, especially because there's so many folks on that side of the ocean that I haven't met in person. But, like, I know your handle. You're kindly been supporting the Metropole Grid. There's so many, you know, really good reasons to say hi. Wait, Worlds is this weekend? Pat, I think so. Okay. All right, well, this was the logical conclusion. No autographs get lost, you know. But for real, yeah, do come say hi. Got it. So everyone should hug you and stand really close and stuff. I don't mind that so much. Giving us a credit, love it. We'll fire op for the first time this whole game. I've shown HQ is pretty decent. The duality of being a person who wants to stream to many people but is not outgoing. It's really weird, right? Like, it's a very interesting counterpoint. It's like, I'm very comfortable here, but like, I'm not, you know, the first person to like, I like public speaking. I just, you know, it is what it is. I'll res this to duck. Why click for a CRS? Oh, David, sorry. This is, please do not assume I know who you are even if we're met PSA. I wouldn't go that far. I'm okay meeting people. I understand what you mean, yeah. Hey, Ba, I'm surely better to do triple install 2 ace and something on one turn if you're not paying for 419 tax every turn. Then you can click for a couple credits for a few turns and purge. I think even if we purge, we're cooked. The short and the long is I think we're cooked anyways, so I probably kind of disassociated with this game. But you're right, triple install is a bit better because it plays around diversion. And then if we're, the thing is, like, I don't think we pay for the expose anymore. Because if we're going to purge anyways, the Amaku can get up to massive strength. It doesn't really matter. So like, if anything, we just let this happen and then next turn we purge. But the problem is, like, before we have to purge, we have to res 3, 6, 7, 8 credits. How many turns is it going to be before we get 8 credits? How many turns? We don't draw an extract. If we draw an extract, it's a bit different. If we click to 4 here, yeah, I'm done. I'm totally done. Why not install the Sandstone Archives? Because they can bounce through it. This is actually not safe to Amakua. This is the least safe ice that we'd want this in front of something. Formicary is porous? Yeah, but at a cost that we can actually potentially win off of. It also is a nice way to deduct diversion of funds if that ever happens. Like, there's some value to this. But like, if we res the Sandstone for 3, they bounce off of it, they can just ice it down. Purge now. Purging only matters if we can res all our ice. Otherwise, they just run R&D. Now might be time to concede. Okay, game. Yeah, I don't know. I don't love decks like this that are inherently all about the table presence. Like, there's a difference between like Reality Plus, in which the ice actually forces something out. But like Amakua just goes so far. Thanks for the game. We can't deal with that at all. And that's a big thing. If people are not playing hedge fund, like, you can just like slam centrals and it works relatively well. Turtles at 6? Well, now it is. But I don't think that actually matters. Catch your hand. Mentioned to bring extra name badges to confuse Pat. We mentioned people to bring extra sleeves and also check existing sleeves and check remarks. Yeah, we're going to go through some basic stuff. I put out a video. I should actually plug it right now about like things to worry about before you go to Worlds, which talks about like the basics, like pile shoveling, keeping a bottle of water, stuff like that. Extra sleeves is super important because if you rip a sleeve, you have to sleeve your whole deck. So just having a couple extras is really important. Try and get fresh sleeves if you can, because if your sleeves are marked, that is 100% a problem on you. Smoke rotated out in the last rotation arc. How's it going? Yeah, Smoke left because Smoke was a flashpoint card. Is there a game store near Worlds in case you run out of sleeves? I think NSG might have some overclock sleeves. I'm not sure. But actually, I would be interested because I have to probably pop out today or tomorrow to get some sleeves. I'd rather just do it at the event. Got a bad cold this weekend. Really replaced my training time with nap plus Stardew time. Yeah. Yeah, but that's exactly why, Pat, you're going to win Worlds. Because you're the only one who napped in Stardew. So you're going to be like at 300% power. Here's a classic. Bring all the G mods, especially Steve, if you have a DJ in your deck. That's a good one. That one's easier to solve by proxying. But yeah, if you are playing, you should just bring all of them. You're probably going to pull Steve, but it's nice to have all of them. Alice. Okay, cool. A bit less aggressive. We can just get like a Sandstone and Archives. Turn 1 will be fine. We have a Spin Doctor to start. We can, yeah, this hand's fine. Alice, yeah. People like Alice. Alice is fun. Alice hasn't been really tier 1 competitive. We also have to watch out too. Some people pair Alice with Sabotage. That can be pretty annoying against Op, which is inherently a bit of a combo deck. So I'm just going to ice up HQ so we don't get, you know, Shastushkad. We'll ice up Archives. I don't really want to put a Spin Doctor on the table. We're going to try and score out behind the Sandstone. I don't know how Alice is going to deal with Sandstone barring Botulus on turn 1. We'll go like that. Gotta say, but your series on Canadian Nats videos is super cool. They add in commentary. Fantastic. Thank you, Xavier. Glad you appreciate it. It's been a lot of work and we're almost done. We're trying to get out. Everything won't be done by Worlds, but we're getting there. All right, let's get some stuff on the table. That's some good money. Getting above the loss scored sooner than later would be pretty good. Unfortunately, if we score that out, we're going to be bankrupt. Probably want to deal with the Spin Doctor before you start doing Alice stuff. That's true. We haven't seen a steel skin yet. We'll see if Scythar holds on to the steel skins. Hordem is the same effective amount of money as Sandstone. I'll push it. Got to keep the G-mobs hidden so the people don't know you got a DJ. Or keep them public. And then don't play DJ. Is Pat going to Worlds with you? Not with me, but he will be there. Legally, we have to travel separate just because after, what happened with Buddy Holly, they legally were required to travel on different planes. Otherwise, Ares and Stego are some of my favorite agendas. They don't account for too much points-wise, but change the entire landscape of the game. Feels great, like a 3-1. Yeah, I hear you. I'm not sure I'm 100% on board. I don't know. It's maybe the sort of spot where I'd like an asset to be, but that makes it work. I don't know. I don't love 3-1s in general. Scoring a 3-1 and then having a huge game impact on turn 1, to me feels a bit too... Like, I don't know. That ability maybe being on a 3-2 or 4-2. Or a 4-2, not a 3-2. I should have last Canada video with my mom so she has a visual representation of what I do. Play this card game that's not poker. It's not poker is like also a relatively interesting thing that my parents have gotten a bit better with. We have professional poker players in my family. I don't think my mom loves poker. I think that's a bit different because it's a zero-sum game, and I understand a bit of the negativity to that professionally. I had to bring my sweet 419 to crush the acid op instead of my awful Janka Kiko. Yeah, game was over turn 1, man. All right. Turtle's going to do turtle stuff. I think we're not too worried about this because Alice, until Miss Bones comes down, doesn't really have the economy to trash stuff. Trash stuff with the Angelique, too, is like not great. Acacia? Okay, well, we don't really plan to purge, do we? All right, money's bad. Svigator can help there. Eventually, Amaku will be 3, but like running with Alice while there's a spin doctor to the table doesn't help too much. I think we just do something like that. We could consider extracting the Magnet for a 2-coster, but the 2-cost ice in the deck is actually a really, really bad spot. We'd probably do it for a Maryland, honestly, which we can't afford to extract this turn. I think I'm realizing the Cannets videos are like super undersaturated. And I think I'm going to put up the saturation to make things look a bit colorful. But there's an issue with the channel that many, many moons ago, I oversaturated the hell out of all the thumbnails and all the videos because the monitor I was using in college was really low saturation and I didn't know it. So I'm like super, super uncomfortable with the idea to be like, I need to make everything a bit more bright because it's washed out, but I don't want to go too far. I don't know. Some of the older thumbnails are really, really rough. They're super oversaturated. They look really ugly. Svigador for 4. We'll take it. Fermenter, nice. So this is a Reaper. All right. This is where like having a bit more money, public trail into end of line works. But we haven't even seen the single oppo, let alone afforded it. I think we do credit, and we just get rid of the Magnet. The problem is that we need another piece of ice there. So maybe next turn, because we can do credit, we can do extract into something. This is a really ugly hand. We might be able to purge out. If Acacia gives credits, whatever. Again, this card, not a huge fan of it. Are you able to preview your videos and thumbnails on a different device like a tablet so you can double check? I can't really preview it on my phone. The color of my phone is considerably different and I don't like it. But like it's hard to do that without exporting the video, uploading it, and putting all the work in it. So, your mileage may vary. But I should check it on different screens for sure. I take high saturation over huge arrows and reaction faces. Oh, but why not both, Piotr? We can do both. Okay, 5 cards in hand. This game is progressing at a pace that I would not consider quick. Probably we need to Spin Doctor to get some forward tempo here. We could extract, but we need to have an ice on archives. I think the Sandstone might have been the best ice for that deal. If we purge here, Acacia can get trashed. They get 5 credits. That means it's a click for 4 credits. It's not bad. Yeah, that hits CBS. That's really funny. Or Virus, excuse me. I don't know what to do here. Like, I don't know how to generate forward tempo off this hand because this hand is super clunky. Like, this card has been not relevant in any game we've played so far. We have 2 in the list. We have no way of producing the 1 of tag card unless they, like, hit the thing. Are there legal issues with using cards images for your reaction faces? Lizzie Mills makes a great template. I don't know. Maybe. I always credit the artist if we use art, like full art off stuff, but I think that's like doing the minimum, which like you'd like to do better than that. I think we will just push ourselves forward. Yeah, that's better. So this we will extract next turn, or we'll just sphere it. Traveling to Barcelona with family, and I've sent them a link to those videos so they have an idea of what I'll be doing when they're visiting. Yeah, just link them to the stream and be like, tune in round 5. I'll be at the top tables. You can watch me, cheer me on in chat. Can't afford to trash that. If they credit and run back, that's like most of their turn. I guess at that point, maybe you'd fermenter. Wow. Yeah, that was most of their turn just to deal with that. That's okay. We have an extract. So now we have to set up the, like, you will die to this. Throwing out a diesel. Nice. Okay. So we will extract this. Shuffle that back in. Order doesn't matter. Install 1 cost. It would be an urban. Server 2. We'll ice that up. Server 2. 0 credits. It might crack the fermenter. I don't think we want to put the Reaper down this turn. I think we'll just click for credit. But then on a following turn in which this is the threat, we'll actually rush out multiple things on the table. So it'll be like, you have to deal with this and the whole table. Simulchip? Okay, just cycling a fermenter. That's okay. It really lowers the value off the fermenter, right? Because now this second fermenter was, I guess, another click into credit. An influence, though. I really wonder how strong Amaku is going to be at Worlds, because people are cutting the viruses, right? And like this does roll over a lot of stuff. Could have been a nasty purge turn with Maryland Drip. I think with Acacia, we'd rather them have to like do work to get money as opposed to us purging out for them. Here, if we crack the Spin Doctor, otherwise they trash it for 2. I'd actually rather them not have 2 credits. Getting these cards back in our deck doesn't seem that important. But we're going to try and win off of economic superiority on the table, so every 2 credits matters. Is it incredibly improbable that I found a person to hear express anxieties over visual nitpicks in a way I can so strongly relate regarding such a small niche? Yep. Credit. The amount of time I know, Eric, that goes into like really, really mundane stuff that like people appreciate, but I don't think they appreciate, you know, the struggle that went into some of that sort of stuff. Like, you know, having your card animated in the right way. Ooh, Conduit. Ooh, Acacia looking a bit better. I wonder if there's some Stavka here. Like this deck is not even running Stavka. And like Stavka is such a good card that while it doesn't work inherently with any of the big parts of the deck, inherently works really well. So the Sandstone holds. Hey Pouch, how's it going? What's up, stream? World's hype started yet? It started like a month ago, let's be honest. Are you going? This is a really well-timed Maryland. Or sorry, Rashida, because it allows us to push forward and slam on the turn where this is going to be a problem and maybe set up our fast advance. We do have the kill in hand, potentially. So here we just want to hold on R&D and we want to put 2 Reapers on the table. And if that holds, then we have Slash and Burn to Azyaf. HQ is just an Afshar, but if they disassemble any part of this, is pretty bad. So I'm just going to do draw, hopefully not get an agenda. We'll do install. So we haven't seen a Steel Skin yet. And like, if the runner just holds Steel Skin, this deck, I feel like the kill combination gets so much more difficult. Hype pauses for about a week after Worlds, otherwise it's on. Nice. All right. So that's going to be 3 credits for sure. Not going, unfortunately. Ah, bummer. Maybe next year, huh? Yeah. The balance between like the 2 sides of the world is very interesting. So a lot of folks have an off season. Going Archives here. It's a credit. Unless they have a Steel Skin in hand. Pretty likely to be flatlined regardless of what happens here. So here, I think we're going to discard the End of the Lion. That might not be correct. I think Maryland's probably a bit less interesting. But here, if they run HQ and steal one of these, like, we're in a pretty bad spot. But this does 4 damage, this does 2 damage, and this does 2 damage. Potentially also this does 1 damage. No, it doesn't, because we're not on threat 3. But if that's the case, right, like, 1 Steel Skin, I think makes the math a bit interesting. Funny enough, too, you can always draw. Okay. So we should always do the small damage first. We can just win off of this. This is 6 damage. So we'll do the Reaper first. We have to do op here before anything else. Find a 2 cost from our deck. What is a 2 cost in our deck? A Maryland. We'll do that. hit a steel skin. We can still have it. We can still have it. So on 3 cards in hand, we don't have it. We hit 2 steel skins, which is exactly why they should be holding those in hand. And now we don't have a combo whatsoever. So that's bad. Now on 1 credit, we could consider jamming out the SDS. We can do install advance. If we trash the Amakua, we have a chance here. But they'll be on credits. They probably just crack the fermenter and run this. Yeah, this is not going good. I don't totally understand this deck. I feel like if you hold the steel skins, you're entirely safe. Raindrops, nice. Into the server. We have no credits here. Funny enough, we have to res 1 piece of ice. So I think we res the border control because that actually gives us something. But I think they had a huge incentive to crack the fermenter here. Because they could have at least challenged the server. Now they actually can run the server, but it's going to be difficult. We're 1 credit short of resing the Hordem here, but now they have to run it twice, right? Like they have to run through the border control and then run through it once more, which they will do it. And if they trash the SDS development to steal any of these, I think we're relatively happy. Oh, this is fine too. This works with Conduit technically. It gets a counter, but they don't see additional card. We have a lot of agendas in hand, so our density on R&D is not too bad. But here we just trash the Amakua. We haven't seen another one, but we've seen 2 simul chips, so that's something. We go down to 2 credits. And they can no longer contest this. They could have ran this twice. I think that would be relatively safe. Nice. They get the Maryland down. That's reasonable. It shuffles, so we draw a different card. All right, we have 0 credits. We could lose on Centrals. We could just lose on HQ really bad, but getting the Amakua down is pretty good. HQ runs are probably where we lose here. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to do anything proactive. This feels so stodgy. Like, our economy is really challenged. If they deal with the Svigators, we have no money in the deck. Like, that Maryland trash made a lot of sense. Like, we could not get free 8 credits there. Botulas. There's no virus respect in this deck. Maybe with the Keisha, you're okay with it. But, like, just all in on the viruses. Every single program we've seen has been a virus. So they can run once a turn. We're a credit short of winning next turn. 2 credits short, mind you. It's funny that you purge the game credits with the virus counters on your Sandstorm with Acacia. Does that actually work? For each virus counter removed? Yeah, they actually make money at the Sandstone. It's not even runner virus counters. How goofy is that? Now, we can just win next turn. So we don't have a huge incentive to purge here. So we'll put a distraction on the table, click for 2, because next turn we can just do install, advance ZF, slash and burn, and we'll win. But we were 2 credits short there, so trashing the Maryland was, like, pretty good. What deck is this deck? It won AMT. Like, you can watch the replay to see what happened. Like, you can watch it. I haven't watched AMT so far, but this deck did win in AMT. So, like, obviously it's doing something. I just think most run-based Toshikos with steel skins in hand, I feel like it's really difficult. I'm not playing this obviously optimally. All right, they can't really run back here. But like smashing HQ on 2 credits is reasonable. Maybe we should just click for 3. Because if they steal either of those, we're in a bad spot. Oh, Augustina? I don't think you can install Augustina when we're in game point. You can, yeah, this doesn't do anything. Especially also when we knew the top of the deck was safe, but all right. Server 7. So the only way that we could win here is if the runners stop putting on aggression. Good game. If they just sent it HQ, they probably would have won the game. Because they have to deal with the Azief. They have to, because we win off of an Audacity, we win off an Azief. If they just run HQ there, we probably lose the game. So yeah, like the cards like this only scale if the game is going to be another, like how much sabotage do you need to get off Augustine for it to be good? Probably sabotage 4, sabotage 5. So do you think the game is going to be 5 more turns? Probably not when the Wayland is on 5 points, right? I want to please see you streaming multiple times a week. Daniel, that's very kind. I'm super stoked to stream multiple times a week. On that note, we're not streaming on Thursday, so we'll stream on the weekend at Worlds. Okay, let's do some news talk because there's some really important news before Worlds that is worth looking at because I think it's fascinating. Firstly, organized play policies update. This is huge. So Jeff dropped this on the weekend. That's Sangren, if you don't know. So Basically, it's some notable changes spelled out in really simple terms, and then there's the full policies document, which we can look at really quickly. This is going to be really important to know going into Worlds. Policies. So the changes here we're going to go over because they're very important to understand either if you're going to Worlds or you're watching Worlds. Firstly, a player may refer to their deck list during a match. During the top cut, a player can refer to their opponent's deck list. This means you can bring your deck list to any organized play table and you can look at your own deck list during the game. That is a huge change. Specifically, also top cut games are with open deck lists. So classically, you had the first 5 minutes to see your opponent's deck list, and then the game would start. And we actually called this out at CanNats pretty heavily, is that it's so strange. NSG, their OP policies as a whole have been really good to allow people to play the game that maybe in terms of like memorizing things is not the easiest thing for them to do. So you're allowed to use like markers to put on the table to be like, I'm going to put a token there to remember I've ran server 4. I'm going to put a token here to remember, or note taking was added to the rules, I think a year ago, so that when you access R&D and you see like, oh, I know the top next 2 cards on R&D, you can write it down on a piece of paper. Sick. And some of the best players use that to their impact. In fact, I think some of the only players that I see note-taking are some of the best players in the game. Chromatically has been note-taking across CanNats. Bridgman note-takes pretty, very well. Like, it's a really important skill to learn, and more people who do it, I think it's going to have a huge impact on your game. So a lot of players say, I don't need a note-take. I think they're wrong. You should note-take. It doesn't cost you much. But now, one of the things that we like kind of joked at CanNats is you see in the top cut, players would reveal their deck lists, but you have to enter the match with a tabula rasa. You have to have a blank piece of paper as your notes going into the upcoming game. So you see a lot of players like spend the first 5 minutes memorizing their opponent's deck list, and then as soon as time was called for the start of the round, they would just scribble down as much of their opponent's deck list as they remembered. That's so ugly, and that doesn't have to happen anymore. So while we did commentary for the top cut before that happened, there will be pop-ups when CanNat's saying like, this is not the rules anymore. Very much worth knowing you're allowed to look at your opponent's deck list during the game. So you still want to review it in the first 5 minutes where you have 5 minutes for that. But then if you're trying to think like, I can't remember how much tag punishment or how many 5/3s they have in their deck, they can look at it, which is really, really, really good. Full policy changes in red. Yeah, with the full thing they updated. Anything that was changed is in red, which is really easy to look through. So while we expanded the note-taking policies a few years back, we initially kept referring to deck lists from explicitly being allowed. However, digital events led us to allowing them for online play, as it was difficult to police. Once in-person play resumed, we started seeing situations where the first minute of a top cut was both players scrambling to write down as many cards as they can remember from their opponent's deck list. Yeah, that's what we saw at CanNats. It's so goofy. Given that we've already tried to reduce the memory requirements by allowing note-taking, extending this to include information that was completely relevant made a lot of sense. We will be monitoring this to see if it impacts the pace of play, but are optimistic that this will mostly be an improvement for players. It's worth noting the finals are not timed, so you can really take your time looking over your opponent's deck list on every play. I'm interested to see whether this will slow down some amount of play. I don't think it will, but I do think players will going to be referring at between runs or before they make the run to see what kind of ice the opponent will have, and that might have an impact on games. As much as timed games in the top cut usually don't go to time unless it's like a really, really, really slow deck. So overall, really excited for that. I think we're actually closer now to having official deck tracking being legal if you're playing in online games, that maybe you're allowed to have a program that tracks every card in your opponent's deck, every card in your deck, what you put on the bottom of the deck, stuff like that. Because that's a really big deal, is that people had their deck lists open classically when playing on online tournaments. And now you are allowed to do that in person tournaments as well. So that's going to be really interesting. Does that mean you can copy the deck list during deck list reveal? Yes, exactly. Well, you don't have to copy it. You could, but like you can just have their paper next to you. And maybe if it's in your handwriting, it'll be easier to read. While judges are mandated to intervene, can other observers flag down a judge for noted infraction? Paul, yeah, that is, sorry, not Paul, Joe, that is allowed. It is in the, it's already in the rules for a while, is that if somebody sees an infraction, they can't intervene with the board state, but they're allowed to go find a judge and explain that to the judge what's going on, and then the judge can go over and intervene if they find it necessary or possible. So you are encouraged, if you see something in any infraction, you don't interrupt the game, you go find a judge and tell the judge. I love games that ban notes. It's not like smart, but I think it's really funny. Dune especially is a great game. That ban notes? I think notes are good. Yeah, judges now have a mandate to intervene when they observe illegal board states. So this was an interesting question that came up across a couple of nationals and continentals over the last year, but now there was no clear guideline on what a judge should do if they observe an illegal board state without getting called. So the idea is that like Jeff had the story about him walking next to a table and seeing something that was gone wrong. It happened at CanNats as well, is I saw something that was an illegal board state, but I wasn't called over for a judge. So the question is, should somebody get like, you know, an infraction? Should there be some sort of, you know, penalty if somebody just observes something because they happen to walk by? And the answer is yes. So if you observe an illegal board state as a judge, you are required to intervene. You can't be like, I'm going to turn a blind eye because you didn't call a judge, which that's good. That's formalized. Illegal actions added explicit guidelines. I think this is called the Paul rule. The short of the long is, it was a combination of these two rules, is that at the top cut, we had a player, it's Paul, who went through this whole game, and I was over on the table because time was called and I was observing the last like minute of the game. And so Paul ran a central server and broke a piece of ice with an icebreaker and paid some amount of money. And I said, that's not the right amount of money. It should actually be this amount of money. And then he said, no, if you look at this breaker, it should cost this. And he was right. But the problem is he was breaking a barrier with a decoder. And that's not technically well explained what to do in the rules, because it's not an illegal board state. It's sort of a missed trigger, but not exactly. So it's technically an illegal action. So now this has been added into the rules, what to do with illegal actions, which is just like, unfortunately, doing rules wrong. And like, yeah, it happens. It happens. Specifically, we were talking about IVIC, which is the one barrier, one of the two barriers that says Cogate on it. So it can be a bit confusing. So I think everyone understood why it happened, but it's good now to understand that the policies have a way to deal with that. I think the way that I ruled on that technically was not 100% correct, because the rules did not have a good idea whether that was a legal board state that was irreparable or whether that was, missed triggers. And so it's hard. It's really hard. At least now there's a way to deal with that. SSS round numbers and length recommendations. Single-sided Swiss is now recommended to be 40 minutes. That's really important. That's what most people have been doing. And the amount of rounds you required. So Can-Nets, we had 40 players. We did 10 rounds. That's probably too much. So those numbers have been ranged down, which is good. And then there's examples of what a significant change in board state is, because when it comes to rewinding, the rules classically said like you don't want to rewind past significant changes. So if it's just been 1 click or 2 clicks, you could probably fix that. But if it's been like a whole turn and people have made like decisions based off of information, that's harder to fix. So the rules have been updated with that. Another really thing that's very important to understand too, and that is not explicitly spelled out here, but I've confirmed this with Jeff. If you're playing at COS and you're playing internal, you're allowed to go into any game with, the only documents you're allowed to go into a game with are rules stuff. So like having the cards that tell you the timing structure of a run or a turn, you can go into a game with that, but largely you have to come in with a clean sheet of notes. This illegal, not this, but technically that, but this Eternal Points list is considered a rules document. So if you want, are you playing Eternal at COS? You are allowed to go into a game with this printed on a piece of paper or on a card or however you can do it. So just keep that in mind. If you haven't got through this, then I think there's actually a good reason, if you're going to be really sweaty, to have this on you, to look at your opponent's deck to be like, oh, they're playing a Count Siphon and Hyperdriver. That's 6 of their 7 points, so they can't be playing False Echo. I think that's very interesting. So keep that in mind, that technically this list is considered a rules document, so you are allowed to bring it to an event. I think that's a huge change. That's really, really nice, because I don't have the time to eternalize this, as the joke was made, and it was very good. Do you know what the guidelines would have told you to do with the IVIC situation? No, I don't, but let's check it out. Let's see what they would do. I'm not actually sure. Okay, if the judge observes an illegal board state, they should intervene and follow normal procedures outlined in Section 4. Section 4. Types of penalties. You can get a game loss that's for your next game. That's really interesting. Or error involved mistriggers or an illegal action, go to 4.6. 4.6, mistrigger and illegal action. If a player took an illegal action, the judge may issue a warning, then go to 5.1 to resolve the board state. If a player is suspected to have intentionally taken illegal action, which was definitely not the case for their own benefit, you go to 4.3.1. So we'd probably go to warning, which is 5.1. Warnings are, it's fine. You can get warnings. It's okay. You don't want to get multiple warnings. But mistriggers and illegal actions. So if the mistrigger was detrimental, the trigger should be resolved when possible, provided not much in game time has passed. If significant in game time has passed, play should continue. So it looks like we would just roll on. It looks like you'd probably get a warning, I think, and then you just play the game on. So it's kind of on both players. Unfortunately, that was missed the way it was. But yeah, it's not a game loss. If a player took an illegal action, rewind to the closest possible state. If information was revealed, see 5.2 for relevant escalation. If illegal action happened in significant time in the past, hold on. Treat it like a mistrigger and have the game continue from the current board state. So it looks like that's the case. Illegal actions such as playing incorrect costs, breaking subroutines with incorrect card. They're coming for you, Paul. Behave essentially like mistriggers. If they're caught in timely fashion, judges should rewind the board state when possible. Otherwise, it is generally advised to let play continue. Mistakes are common, and trying to consistently make retroactive changes based on players' memory of board states have very prone to error. This is actually a really big thing that kind of overarches the OP policies, is that I know specifically Sengrin and the way that things are written are very much against rewinding to repair board state. So as much as possible, we just play play on, and or if things are beyond reproach, it is a game loss. If it's like a very significant change. But that is very much worth knowing. I think Ysengrin largely, in terms of the judge team, doesn't want to do judicious rewinds because it is a hard thing to get correct. Significant time depends on board state and up to the judge to evaluate. If it's still the same turn, it is likely worth rewinding and having the players otherwise go through the same actions. If some of those actions would now be illegal, it's likely not worth rewinding. See the discussion 4.8.1. The reason for not giving game losses based on past illegal actions is primarily to reduce the ability of someone to get judge-based wins by observing legal action and saying nothing. Yeah, that's actually really important and it's really nice. So the idea is that you can't see your opponent messing up and then be quiet about it. And then like 2 turns in, be like, judge, my opponent did this 2 turns ago. There's no way to fix it. I win. You can't do that. So I do actually really appreciate that. That closes that ugly window. So if you do miss something, if there's something that you see that your opponent hasn't done correctly, you should flag it right away, because that is the only way that any sort of judge can do something about it right then and there. I very much agree with that. I think that's really, really, really cool. So well done. Updating this, and mind you, this will be relevant for Worlds. Of course, it is not very explicit the way it's written, but these policy updates are legal as of this weekend. Okay. That happened to me last week, and I forgot that I can go back and trash a card from R&D after moving on. The TO intervened. Oh, nice. I think it's good to allow notes, but I think it's funny to bend a kind of above the table concept. Okay. Other stuff, Cobra AI improvements, world registration procedure. This is worth going over, especially if you're going to Worlds, because there's going to be some amount of self-registry at certain events. This talks about when things open, when the times are, registration will close at 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. So if you're not registered by the time, you will not play. Don't be late. So be very, very careful with that. We talked about on Sunday on Startup, you're allowed to register late. You're allowed to generally drop into the tournament whenever you want, and any round that you weren't there for, you just get a game loss. So be that as you will. COS extravaganza won't require deck lists. That's important. The team tournament does not require deck lists. One person registers as the whole team. So keep that in mind as well. And of course, Startup Championship is on ASUP's tables. It's single-sided Swiss. So you are allowed to register online. Just read through this. Also, if you need fixed seating, you can get fixed seating. So the idea is that if movement is difficult, you don't want to be constantly moving from chair to chair to chair to chair throughout the day. Any sort of mobility issue, there's so many reasons why you maybe want this. Hit up the organized play people and they'll start you with fixed seating. So whatever match you'll be having, you'll be at the same chair, so you don't have to move around. Super, super useful. And yeah, there's apparently some upgrades to Cobra and ASOP's tables as well, as I think, which is sick. That's really, really good. I had a new player to Startup CEO install an Anoetic Void as the innermost ice on R&D because they went through that's where upgrades went. It was messy to figure out 2 turns later. I think that would be a game loss in a lot of situations, but a casual event with a new player makes sense to try and fix it. Yeah, there's a huge difference when it comes to the escalation of casual play and competitive events. If you do that at Worlds, it is a game loss. It's irreparable. It's a game loss. But that being said, if it was just like a CO or a GNK, you should, as much as possible, just try and play the game on as much as you can, even if it's beyond repair. A casual tier events are generally, a lot of the judging is meant to be done at a level that requires the games to continue. You don't want to be giving out game losses as much as possible, so it's kind of up to your judge. But for Worlds, that's 100% game loss. Do we know if Wi-Fi will be available on site for the online registration? I don't know. That's a good question. If you were in the Discord, there's a really nice channel on Discord for people going to Worlds. And not only people going to Worlds, but like families of people going to Worlds, where there's like, here, do you have a spouse that's going or a family that's going? Here's a group for people to organize stuff. And it's a really great space to be. Check that out for sure. I'd ask there. Because I do have some questions I want to ask there, like whether there's a place we can buy card sleeves locally that's close, whether they have Wi-Fi, whether they have water bottles, stuff like that. There's like water on tap. It's important. Some other news. This we talked about a bit last week. I'll have a link in the description. NYC Netrunner Sovereign and Subways. So this is a team tournament that's classically ran in New York City for a long time now. This is basically the same structure of what COS was last year. So the idea is that you register as 3 players and each player has to play a different faction in a standard tournament. So it's not standard Startup Eternal like COS is this year in Barcelona on the weekend, but it's more just 3 people playing 3 different factions. Huge fan of these sort of team tournaments. This is being run in New York in November 18th. So a month from now. Registration at 10:30, pairing at 11 at the Carcosa Club in Manhattan Avenue in Brooklyn, excuse me. $30 entry. I don't know if that's per team or per player, but these are amazing. This is being run by Cat. Mind you, this art is part of the prize support. You can get a full NYC SOS 23 Cat Chen alt art. This is the art that they drew for Jack Warundi. So you get the full art there, which is pretty cool. This event sounds so cool considering joining with the Boston contingent. I think a lot of people will travel in. folks show up for this. Team tournaments are so fun. And then specifically you're incentivized to find like 2 friends and travel in together. So it's really, really nice. What a spicy cat. A very, very spicy cat. This reminds me they have a DM from Whiteblade I should respond to. Yeah. Yeah, me too, Joe. Since it was a casual event, I did a bit of creative rewinding, but the way they found out was the runner hitting on run after Atomos Ice was rezzed. It was messy. It is messy, yeah. Obviously, it's messy. Some people could feel bad about it, but like the cost of getting people into the game. Is Cat the artist behind the Canats SMC? Yeah, that's the same Cat-chan who did the Canadian alt art. Yep, I think there'll be other prize support, like you can see here. Door prizes, exclusive alt arts, laser cut IDs. So it's not just this playmat. There's gonna be a lot of really cool stuff there. Prize support's really great here. As perhaps what we do in the shadows, New York City, very much so. Speaking of alt arts, these are some of Elwin's. That's Yakuza's acrylics. Some of these are old, some of these are new. You see the Arisana, Reality Pluses. I haven't seen those before. They're really nice. Man, this Jinteki, that's a PE. That seems really fragile, but so cool. So Elwin is Yakuza. You'll see him on the art of, what art is he on with Misha and the blocks? I forget. But these look so good, and these are a combination of the old and the new. Essa, and I have the Sable. Sable, Essa, and Padma were available at last team tournament in Toronto, but there's a whole bunch of these that will be available. I'm not sure how they're going to be distributed, but largely at Crown and servers on Friday. I'm trying to win a nice op, but I think all of these are fantastic. I've been trying to get the Thomas Haas 419 for years. It's so funny, Thomas Haas new haircut. Atea is fantastic. Atea is up here. Whoa, with the web, yeah, the wooden Atea is good. They're all like different materials. Some of them are metal, some of them are acrylic, some of them are wood, some of them are bread. Yakuza's done a lot of stuff. If you want to hear more too, he was recently on the last episode, I think, of the Null Signal Station with Mar to talk about this. Yeah, they're really, really nice. Really, really, really nice. Do we need to sleeve these IDs? I wouldn't. Maybe this one. I'm worried about breaking that bonsai, but it's nice that you have to take care of your bonsai. That's kind of on brand. I love the outfit. Yeah, that one's really cool too. Well, they're all really cool. What's this one? With like the little spider in hand. Maybe Freedom because it looks like a virus? I think they're all amazing. Is that sports metal actually metal? Yeah, these seem to be metal. Whether they're aluminum or steel, I don't know. But they look very metal. I think some of the ops were like made of stone as well. This one might be stone, but I know one of the ops he built was that stone. And a bunch of these are like one-offs. And he said in the Discord that like a bunch of them are like, you know, test runs and things like, oh, this is the first time I tried printing in this material. So there's only one of them on the planet. So there's a lot of really, really cool price support. Apex maybe? Oh, maybe Apex. Yeah, maybe. Really, really cool. Speaking of, I don't know where this photo came from, but there's going to be a lot of like NSG stuff for sale, including Arisana's shirt. I think it's this blue one and yellow, but having a bunch of different colors. These are really, 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 really nice. Frog, yeah. Definitely going to pick up one of these for sure, but it's really cool. There's technically NSG has done merch before, but it's only on Redbubble and it's like kind of, it's okay. It's okay. But this stuff is really fun. That's a bit more bespoke and like on brand. I got a beanie of theirs last Worlds and I like it a lot. These are fantastic. Frog. I used to have so much cool stuff from when I played during the early FFG days. Now my friends are coercing me to play again, and I'm sad not to have all my swag. Oh, Gear Jock, sorry to hear about that. Yeah, the old collections of alt arts are definitely really cool. Is any of this stuff sale outside of Worlds? I don't know, Tron. I think there's a chance. Stuff like this, no, because it's price support. Stuff like this, maybe. I think NSG was saying they're considering updating the Redbubble store, but I think maybe, because this is not price support. I think it's very important to understand that price support usually cannot be bought for money by, you know, that. Where I saw it? I should petition Sokka to get some 6 egg for me. Yeah, you can probably hit up someone who's going to pick up some stuff for you. Give Frog shirt is great. I want the Frog shirt by buying a plane ticket. Yeah, these are amazing. I'd be really stoked to see if these were printed a bit more wide. Also, this is part of the price support. This shouldn't be for sale, at least with this logo on it, if at all. But this is the sort of faux leather deck box, kind of like the ones from FFG Worlds 2018 or 2017. You see a lot of players with. This is great. It was on the NSG Mastodon social. Okay, cool. They have faction hats last Worlds. So this is, I lost the message. It's sort of similar, exactly. It can't be bought for money with that attitude. I need that black and white frog to glow in the dark, please. Yeah, I can't tell which color I like the best. Probably this one, but this one's also really fun. They're all, I like this one the least, but it's still pretty good. Yeah, these are cool. I'm excited to see what these look like inside. The Ag Infusion is prized possession. Oh, the acrylic? I will be auctioning off the Behold playmat when I win it. Price support can absolutely be bought off money after the event, so not reliably so. Yeah, that's actually like a large thing when it comes to like, you know, A lot of people are like, I can't go to Worlds. It's across the country. It's a bummer that I can't get access to this sort of stuff. And I think this is a bigger thing when it comes to other games or like Flesh and Blood specifically that has, you know, a rarity system and you can win like a gold foil, you know, card. And so a lot of folks, and I think it's so much less in Netrunner than it is other card games like Flesh and Blood, is that a lot of people will travel and then the cool stuff that they get, they will sell it on like, you know, Facebook or on eBay or whatever, and then use that money to be able to afford them to do the travel itself. So I think it's really cool that there is exclusive stuff at events, regardless of whether or not you're going to that event. That's obviously a bit of a bummer, but I think having the ability to have cool things, right, helps a lot of people, you know, reason that they can afford to do that. But I don't think Netrunner players are like selling, you know, Yakuza stuff on eBay as much as that is. Seems wild. I need to identify a frog t-shirt mule to bring one back from Worlds to me. The virus one is freedom. I have a similar one. Oh, Chillstead. Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So you'll see. Maybe you can buy those. I don't know. These are also cool. These are like giant sleeves of their dice. These look slightly different. Oh no, they look very similar. I have a whole bunch of these I got from Prize Support a long time ago. I thought I had them in front of me, but I don't. But these used to be Prize Support. Whether you're going to be able to buy them or they will be Prize Support is really cool. These are nice die. They have the faction logos. There's an NSG one that isn't here. Oh no, it is here. Wait. Are there colored NSG ones? Is the NSG the 6 while the logo's the 1? Why do these have the NSG N on them? What's going on? Because they used to just have a black one that was NSG. Doesn't bother me. There should be swag if you make the effort to be there and do well. Yeah, yeah. It's like if you're not going, it feels bad, but yeah. I like that Netrunner players will buy alt arts as a local prize support. It feels like a nice way to support each other. Yeah, no, that too. I'd totally buy the alt arts if I could. They look so cool this year. That's the final note here. Streams start as soon as Friday, Barcelona. So like even Thursday evening in some places. Go ahead and hit that follow button so you can know when the stream goes live, because it will be here and we'll be streaming. I'm going to be doing casting on Saturday and Sunday, but there's a whole crew of people streaming on Friday as well for COS and Saturday and Sunday. Hang out and chat, say hi, you know, support all the people on the microphone. For a bunch of people, it's also like their first time casting or they don't have a lot of experience casting. So any support in chat, I think helps a lot. So yeah, do check that out and, you know, be nice. Everyone loves it. Just hype in chat. Like World streams are so much fun. There's a lot of hype. All right, I'm out of breath. I think that's all the news. Do we play Netrunner now? No neutral dice? Yeah, the null signal dice used to be the neutral dice. Maybe there is. I think maybe there's a chance that the NSG logo one has no other symbols on it. Because I'd be very confused if there was a logo and the NSG on the 1 and the 6 and you couldn't tell which is which. So I'm actually worried that might be it. No, it looks like all the ones... Do these dice have NSG logos and the faction logos? No, if you look at the bottom one, the green ones, you only see the Shaper logo. So there's a chance there's a bunch of NSG ones and there's a bunch of factioned ones. Because you see the 6 here. Okay, let's do some forensics. It looks like they're on the 6. Yeah? So the two opposite sides of the dice add up to 7. So you don't see any 1s here, but you do see 6s. So the symbol has to be on the 1. But this NSG... 4 or 6 would be on the opposite side of that. Yeah, I would assume that these don't have both. Yeah, there's no 1s. Yeah, tricolumn. But that means that these dice that have the NSG symbol only have the NSG symbol. It's just a green NSG die. It's not a Shaper NSG die. That's good. Yeah, you can see the bottom here. Okay. If it had both, it'd be super confusing to be like, what's the 1, what's the 6? Yeah. I see an orange 6 on the NSG one. Yeah, right? Yeah, so it's not both. It's one or the other. Really, really good. Otherwise, yeah, that would be a nightmare. But these are good. I use a bunch of these. Pretty consistently. They're great. They're really, really good. Okay. Who's going to win Worlds? Or what's going to win Worlds is probably the answer I kind of want. Did we play against this? No. No, Acacia. Somebody mentioned a Reina list recently. What's a Reina list look like? Me? Oxy, you know what you're playing? The color of NSG one and the criminal one is different. You think? The Red Queen undefeated Irish national is 4.5 wins. All right. It is an Anarch deck with Reina. It has 2 en passant. This card's fun. What would win Worlds? Hashiko and Op? I don't know if I would go straight into the Op camp. I think over a long enough tournament, Op can just like fall apart a bit. I do think things like Asa Group, you know, do kind of line up a bit better against a long enough tournament. I'm interested to see whether the tag stuff is real, right? Like Reality Plus has been doing relatively well as well. but it's something that it's like you need a deck that's also powerful and consistent. I think there's also a difference between getting a deck for Swiss and getting a deck for the top cut. But because it's 9 rounds, largely the Swiss ends up being the top cut in the last couple rounds. So it's hard. I think with all the 2-for-1ing, I'm really interested to see how much 2-for-1ing is. You know how much I love double-sided Swiss. I'm wondering to see how rough things are going to look. Will you be playing at Worlds too, or do you have to stay out of it? I will only be playing at the Crown of servers. But on the other 2 days, I will be just commentating. I won't be on the mic 100% of the time. We have a rota, so I'll be on and off. But I'll be out throughout the day, which means I have time to walk around the tables. And I'm actually really, really excited about that. Because last year at Worlds, not only was the casting booth in like this dark tent where you couldn't see anything, but we were casting 100% of the time. Which means I didn't really have time to like walk around and see what people are doing and say hi to folks and stuff like that. So I said this earlier in the stream. I'm going to say it again. If you want to come say hi to me, please come say hi. I'll be wearing a shirt that says A Maverick on the front and or back, so I'll be easy to identify. I'll probably be wearing a mask, I'm assuming. Still, do come say hi. I'm not... There's so many people that I know online as handles, and like even if you think I'm busy, I've heard that before. Be like, I didn't want to come say hi. You look busy. Please just come say hi. And most I'll be like, yo, what's up? Nice to meet you. And then I'll be like, I have to run, but I'll be back at some point. So please do that. I'm not a very outgoing person. I don't introduce myself to people. I'm a bit shy, so it definitely helps a lot. What format are you going to play Crown Service, Robin? I'm playing Eternal. We played Eternal on stream last week against Usangren. Had a surprisingly good time. Eternal was actually really, really fun. It's kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! We're like, your deck is your other deck. I'm playing Op. Your deck is your other hand. Why run not Hoshiko Anarch when you could run Hoshiko? I don't know. I don't think there's a huge reason to like give up all the card draw. And like speaking of all the card draw, this deck doesn't have a lot of card draw. I think the sort of deck, like the way that it's probably, I don't know, we probably should read the thing, but like it has some wild plays that people are not expecting. So like nobody plays around Tread lightly. The idea that your remote server on turn 1 costs 4 more credits, like that can be really difficult. I think that can get people a surprise. But this deck just doesn't have a lot of card draw in it. It in fact has, you know, obviously no DreamNet, has no Earthrise, it has no Zero. Okay. So like in terms of card draw, we have the price, if you want to call it that. We have Strike Fund Steelskin Scarring Package. That works really nice with the price. And 2 moshing. That's it. I don't know if that's fast enough. It's obviously doing well. Undefeated Irish Nationals. It is worth knowing undefeated does depend on your placement. If you're undefeated but your corp loses all your games, that, you know, puts in perspective a bit. Tread lightly is such a curveball to have to deal with. Yeah, it is really hard. And so a lot of times you'll see like, you know, it's a nice card against like Reality Plus that like I'm frustrated that because they keep resing their ice for free. And this actually stops that from happening. And then if they don't res, they en passant. I think a single Stargate as all the multi-axis in the deck is also really weird to me. So it's just like Maw and Stargate. Like there's no Wake, there's no twinning, there's no companions. Like this does seem like it's missing a lot of what I'd expect to see in an Anarch deck. So we'll see. Do we know if Worlds was the same weekend last year? It was this weekend because it was during Canadian Thanksgiving, which was just this weekend. So it was technically a weekend sooner. Yeah. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. My family that came up was really nice. Yeah. Let's give this a shot. You gonna play some Eternal now? No, I'm not gonna play some Eternal now. I don't think a lot of people like Eternal or like care to watch Eternal. I think the viewership on the last stream was like not amazing because people just don't like Eternal. But I think I have enough experience now playing Eternal that I feel comfortable. And as much as our team isn't like trying to win the event, I do think we have a chance of doing okay. It's like a bummer because like as soon as I see the altar, it's like I kind of want to win Eternal because the price support seems really good. And Yakuza's altars have always been, I think they're hard to get here on this side of the ocean. Worlds feels like it was so short ago. Yeah, like last Worlds was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I like Eternal. I do like Eternal a fair bit. And like that's the bummer is like I'm playing Op and then I realized so quickly that there's like 7 other Op decks I want to play that are only possible in Eternal, but we can't do it because we have so little time to play Eternal. I probably should join like an Eternal league, which I know there are. They are there. Reina Roja, the Red Queen, Freedom Fighter. 2 labor rights also to me seems pretty strange, but I do think it's more so that we're not getting to the bottom of the deck, but we're playing them on tempo to hit like strike funds and Steelskin Scarrings and stuff like that. It draws a card technically. Undefeated here meant that they tied in Swiss and lost 1 corp game, then lost 2 corp games in the cut, which were some horrible flood games. Tied 1 runner game, excuse me. That's the 4.5, right? Haven't missed much, I assume. No, we just started. No, we've been streaming for a while. Jeff, we went over the OP changes. I said that I like them a lot. We teased Paul for the Paul rule. I think the idea that if somebody does an illegal action and you don't catch it for a couple turns, that stops people from like sharking is really, really good. And the fact that we can bring deck lists and review deck lists is, I think, like was the natural conclusion, because everybody's scrambling down their deck lists in the first 5 minutes is hilarious. I love playing Corp in Eternal into the runners on Claude and 3 Sacons and I have to play Netrunner again. I don't have a lot of experience playing into Shaper. And I'm worried about that. Like I have so little experience playing. I played a lot of Anarch, played a bit of Criminal, but I have like no experience playing into Shaper. The thing is, like, I'm worried most Shaper, I haven't played Control Shaper, and I think Control Shaper is very different than like aggro, deep dive, hyperdriver Shaper. Have we talked about the new tournament rules? Yeah, Dave, we did. Pretty great. Very important to understand as well. Oh yeah, I should plug this actually. Netrunner, Métropole Grid. So you're going to Worlds. If you're going to Worlds, this video is a bit longer than probably you might want it to be, but we put this video out a year ago talking about some like really basic stuff to go over if you're going to Worlds, including things like what to pack, understanding how judges work, understanding like the deck list submission, stuff like that. Some of that stuff might be slightly different, but just keep this in mind. This is probably a pretty good video to review in terms of like understanding how to pile shuffle before every game, count your cards. There's a bunch of things that like seasoned Netrunner players have been doing consistently, and they have like very, very obvious impacts on games. So keep that in mind. The Paul rule is a good name for it. There's someone in the UK had a similar issue that also contributes. Yeah, we call it the new policy. Hey, thanks. Thanks, you too. Remember to take a shower and dress comfy? Oh, definitely take a shower. Like, I feel like I didn't even want to say that in that last video because Netrunner is not as bad as other card games. But yeah, please, it's gonna be warm. Should have watched that video then. Too late now? That's not too late. Bringing extra sleeves, like stuff like that's super important. Okay, PD can be pretty fast. We have a pinhole in our hand. Our opening hand, daily cast Fermenter. Price is probably good enough. 46 card. Let's go. Yeah, let's do it. We want to force one res a turn. Always tell them to take a shower? I just thought that was assumed. I think they combined Overclock with Conduit. Wait, sorry? Oh, they did both in a run. Yeah, that's hard to fix. I see what you mean. If you're going to Worlds and haven't read the whole org play rules, it's kind of silly. Yeah, you probably should. All right, you ready to Reina the heck out of this? Come on, you have 5 credits. What are you going to res? It's going to cost you 4 or 5 credits. It's a gatekeeper for 4 credits. Totally fine trade. This has to be Rashida. We're going to pinhole it. All right. They shuffled back Ikua, Offworld, Luminal. That's a lot of agendas in R&D. This has to be Rashida or it's nothing. So we will now bring it down, and now they have nothing. Bye. Contest the remote server turn 1. Unfortunately, here we can't daily cast and Fermenter. So I think we run R&D here to get an access because we know there's a lot of agendas in 37 cards, and we just get that down. PD losing their first Rashida Tranquility is backbreaking? Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really bad. Oh, YDL, though, is really good there. Okay, so with 1 credit, we can install every card from our deck because not card in our deck costs less than 4. Well, easy. It's just a Unity. We lost the second pinhole. That's going to feel bad because they're on defensive upgrades, the price and strike fund. Okay, so that's okay. It's not amazing. It's okay. They probably don't have agendas in HQ unless they're super flooded. So we'll hit R&D. We know they have a drafter. Take your notes. Rashida. Okay, we'll run back. We can still Ikua here. Managarm, can't trash that. I think we'll get a Fermenter down cooking, but this is the issue. Is like Hoshiko here, we would have had 2 free card draw as opposed to making them spend 1 more credit. I hope that's a joke though. I did try and make a top half up to player expectations readable for people. I'm not sure. If you're going to Worlds and have read the whole org play rules, kind of silly. Oh, I see what you mean. All right, yeah. Again, I don't know how much rain is going to matter compared to like getting free card draw and free credits. But we'll see. We have to spend a lot of clicks drawing. The deck does not have card draw. And that is where I feel like we're going to be behind. It's like, it's these single X's that we're making off R&D that we made 2 or 3 in the last kind of game, turns. Like those are so much better in Hoshiko because it's hard in this format of standard of relatively high power to like be able to get single axes and not have on tempo axes. Like spending a click just getting an axis compared to Hoshiko where the click is an axis and a card draw is night or day. So do keep that in mind. It is so much different. The fact that we're not getting card draw. Like we have to basically take a turn off here. We can run through the gatekeeper. That's okay. We're going to access with 1 credit. I don't think we want to do that. It only threatens the last Rashida, which is not great. It could be an agenda. I think that's a hard thing to do, though. Hey, any advice against PD in this particular matchup? Necrid, how's it going? I don't play into a lot of PD. Understanding that they can score out in agendas with seamless launch on an unadvanced table is really important. Understanding that face checking into most of their ice on the remote server in the early games is really good, but they generally want to win the game with defensive upgrades, so having access to a way to deal with the defensive upgrades like pinhole threading are pretty important. Stuff like that. Let's just play through this turn. I don't think we can afford to contest that. Well, now we can. I don't think we have a good way of getting this out of the hand instead of moshing, so I think we can check it. It's probably the Mana Garm, though, actually, so we shouldn't have done that click right there. En passant? Yeah, like, we're taking turns off just to draw 4 cards. That's not great. Sorry. I wanted a run card. If I wanted to play with the rulebook on my hand, is there any penalty if opponent tries to res an ice and forget to pay the extra credit for Reyna? There is... They would try and fix it. I'm not exactly sure how that'd be ruled, but they would try and fix it. It's a detrimental trigger. I think it's your ability, so like it's kind of on you to make it happen too. If it's been a couple turns, they would not go back and make you pay for the Reyna credit. I'm pretty sure. All right. Thanks so much. Good luck. Have fun. Of course, Necrid. I wish I had a better answer to that. I'm curious if there's intention to lock this weekend moving forward, or if we'll likely move around because this year it's on my anniversary. It's usually around now, which like is for Canadians, it's also pretty rough. Like, we're not generating any forward tempo. I don't understand this. Like, we have 1 multi-axis card, and we're like, do we even have Dirty Laundry? We don't even have Dirty Laundry. Like, it's really hard for us to make valuable runs. So, like, putting down Hannah is probably fine. It's not even great. At least it's not as bad as 419. But with 419, I have more plays that like can disrupt them. Like, Diversion of Funds, Boomerang Charge. Like, I feel like that is even a bit stronger. I don't need the Liberated here. Tread lightly is what we want for the remote server pull. If they have to spend 10 credits to res a Brawn, I think we're in an okay spot. We'll just keep ourselves as fluid as possible. Every faction needs a built-in DreamNet. Does the neat chip exist? It does exist. Okay, so we're assuming that's Mana Garm. We're assuming this is an ice that we want them to spend a lot of money of. Now, they single advance the card, which means that they don't have Seamless. They're scoring on Ikawa here, which is pretty bad. So I think we have to challenge the remote server. Luckily, we have a Unity. If they res a Drafter, it's not amazing, but we want to do this sooner than later. So you have to spend 4 extra credits to res this ice here. There you go. 10 for Brawn is okay for us. Now, thinking, if we double click through this, let alone triple click through this, we have 13 credits. We're now on 11 credits. We can deal with Mana Garm. So we are going to click through this. I'd argue actually we can save a click because if they install Piece of Ice, they can't afford to res it. Hold on. Umpasan bounce something on Centrals. I think we need to challenge this because it's not NGL. I'll break the ETR. Can you manually fire the first subroutine? Imagine I didn't break that. Because I want to have a click left here, because if they can't res the ice, whatever ice is going to cost them a minimum 3 credits, which they can't. So they can do the bronze subroutine here. I don't think it matters. I think Ampassaning down Centrals only matters if we, like, that's the problem, is like we can Ampassan down R&D or HQ really cheaply, but if we do that, we have no multi-axis. Like, we have no conduit, we have no Stargate, we have no way to make those axes better than just a single axis. So I don't love it. I don't think it's great. Remember Ikawa? Yeah, Ikawa is a good reason to not spend a click there too. That being said, I'd be surprised if this was an Ikawa. So they res a Mana Garm here, they go down to 0. Now we can like run HQ, okay. So we'll pay 5, we'll access this first. It's an off-roll, you need that. 3 to trash this, I think we have to. Fermenter's probably how we make our money back. Unfortunately, we can't run and then, what's it called? En passant, we don't have enough clicks here. So we did okay work. We could run HQ and check. Next turn, we probably Fermenter into Liberated to recover. We also want to eventually Hippo this down. Just en passant. En passanting this is probably not that important. I'd rather en passant R&D. Yeah, okay, that's good. All right, wrong game point. En passant the brand installed ice. I don't think it's going to be that important. They're not going to be able to res this for many turns now. Like, we want to just Hippo that. Like, here we en passant R&D as a threat. Okay, they could still score out. With 2 credits, they can't really res ice, because mind you, Reina. So let's try and find out a way to... Like, here we open up R&D, and then we fork them between this remote server. It could be the last Rashida, but I don't think it's that much else. We want to purge this before we get an access on Centrals. Let's draw once. Okay. We just don't want to get, like, absolutely wrecked, and we want to access with a click and 2 credits left. We don't get wrecked, but... Oh, I didn't mean to trash that. So now R&D is open. If they have a Rashida here, the last Rashida, and they're in a really good spot. But now it's a fork between scoring out and doing anything else. The last tournament I went to, I brought a Max Apocalypse deck. It's really cool to see the new meta and cards. Looking forward to see what comes out of Worlds. Bart. Yeah, Max Apocalypse was really fun. It was the last Worlds last year, though. So we're going to see something different for sure. 4 credits means they can res a drafter. They have 1 card in hand. We could let a Blade of Firing here is pretty bad. I don't know what that is. I think we can just set up and like find our keyhole or whatever, Stargate, and try and win. We don't have a lot of money, so we have to get a Liberated down. We'll do... That's probably wrong. I think we just do these 2. That's probably going to be as much money as we need. Getting down a Hippo is kind of important, but like we don't have a lot of card draw. We need to get to our breakers. But they don't have a lot of credits. Okay. We can run HQ here. They're going to spend a lot of money resing. If Drafter brings back Rashida, that's the only really bad thing here. You can put Hippo down and threaten to take a turn off to remove the brand. I think we want to do it on the term of running that. Like, I want to play the Hippo so they put another ice here so it buys us time. But, like, we also have to find our breakers. So I think I want to try and do both. That's good for probably the remote server. There's a Carmen. So we want to get that off on a good run. Off probably, like, Archives is good enough. I don't think we can slow it down with a Liberated. It's too many clicks for it to be good for us. And we don't have Paladin, so we can't really cheat it out. I think we run Archives next turn. Anarch Stoof is called Hijack Router. Gerard, how's it going? Is this your deck? Is this the Red Queen? By Gerard's? It sounds like your name, so it probably is. How's it going? I was recommended this deck. We've cost the corporation 2 credits so far. Not sure I'm a big Reina fan. Ooh, you see? That's what the Hippo did. They spent a lot on that. Mind you, I think they probably will trash the Gatekeeper. I think their money is more important than our money. So here we can consider running Archives. If it's a virus that they pitched, we get purged out. I think it's fine if we get purged out. But with the Carmen, we're still kind of scared to face checking because of Ablative. Oh, we found a Drafter. So I think we can just get this down and get some money. Again, Ablative we want to run sooner than later, but if they get a Rashida in server 1, that's how they recover here. I think we could actually consider running. Again, the huge issue with Carmen to Drafter is it costs us as much as money as it costs them. So we can make 1 run here on HQ. If it's an Ablative, it's an Ablative. They cost them 3 credits at least. And here we can run with a click and 2 left. MIC for 7 credits. I don't think they can afford that anytime soon. I think we draw here last click. Drawing last click is not great, but we want to access with Ikua, so that's fine. The face down was from Ampesan. Oh, you're totally right. That's the Drafter. Okay, so we don't have to be scared there. Thank you. Yeah, it's 100% correct. That's fine. They make them spend 3 and commit a nice. They can't res when they actually go for their mode. Yeah, if they spend 3 here, R&D is open, so that's fine. Okay. I think we probably crack the Fermenter, just run R&D. There's no barrier that they res, and this also respects Hagen. If they res Hagen for 5, so be it. Is there anything we want to price for? I don't think so, because it's most likely Hippo that we want. Yeah, it's a Drafter. Yeah, I forgot it's the Drafter we trashed. So again, just single accesses. No dirty laundry, no way to get forward tempo. They don't want to res the outermost because of Hippo. And so we need a really lucky single here. It's a Drafter, okay. So they spent a lot of money. We can now run HQ. Spin, we will trash spin. They're drawing an unknown though. We'll run HQ for a single because they can't res, and then we'll probably get the Liberated counts down. Seamless, okay. Stalling this to go down to 3 is not great. We'll be on 5 next turn though. But yeah, we're just playing fundamentals. It's just like slow fundamentals. Like so far we've cost them 3 credits. That's probably not worth your Anarch ability. What are we pricing for here? A Cleaver, maybe? We still have Steel Skins though. It's Cleaver or Stargate. I kind of like the Stargate. We lost the last en passant. Price is so good here. It's okay. The issue is like we haven't found a console yet. Yeah, Maw would be really good actually. Hitting a Maw would be the best hit here. Oh, they haven't resed the barrier yet. We don't Cleaver through Braun because we have no support for it. So it's just for Ablative and Hagen. I'm going to go for the Stargate. It's a 1-up in the deck. I think we need it. But our money's pretty bad here. So I think we hit 7, which is enough, and we Stargate once. We can't win, but we'll be able to control the narrative of the game. Yeah, they can't really afford to res too easily. But paying 4 for Drafter without any support, it's like so bad. Drafter is the best entry in the whole game right now. Vitruvius, Spin Doctor, Spin Doctor. That's obviously kind of rough. All right. So if they draw Vitruvius that goes in the remote server, we can't deal with it. So I think we're just going to get the Vitruvius and put ourselves on game point. Stargate feels pretty bad now. We could consider not stealing it. They'll Spin Doctor it back for sure. But yeah, that's the best we can do. So now Spin Doctor probably goes in the remote server. This deck doesn't have multi-access D. It's the only multi-access. The only card. Like no twinning, no wake, just a Stargate, no finality. That's generally not how I like playing Netrunner. I like having more control over the game than being like, I hope we draw our Stargate at the time it's relevant. Stargate is good enough. It can be. But like, it's so easy to like, you know, build twinning while also setting up. I think just a Stargate is a reasonable answer. Like, what about if it's in the bottom 10 cards of our deck? We have no multi-access. Yeah, but 4-9 has like, you're probably playing a Docklands pass of some sort. Maybe a Sneak Door. Like you have other pressure cards. I don't know. Would this deck work better if we just change Rainer for Hashiko? I think directly, yes. If you just change Rainer for Hashiko and still played every single card, it probably would be a bit easier to play. Now it's your card. Sounds like a deck I'd build and take 40 minutes to Ika win out. The thing right now is like this deck hasn't played a hedge fund. Oh, it has. But like just having enough pressure, it is doing something. But again, our ability has only cost them 3 credits, which is not nothing. But like, you know, you compare that to 419, you obviously have a different pool of cards. Feels different. So they have a Spin Doctor in hand. They have an MIC somewhere. We have 1 Cleaver and 21 cards. Mind you, Tread Lightly also doesn't really work with Hannah. It's okay though. We can always just get another click. So in theory, if we found an Ikawa there, if we had that, we could like crack it to run archives if we needed it. Raina being blank versus a wide deck is a bummer. Yeah, it's also, I think, blank versus op as well, because op reses ignoring all credit costs. So Raina doesn't work. The write-up says as much, but Raina's a lot of fun. Cool, okay. Cost 3 cards, but theoretically it forces some not res options. I mean, it cost them 3, but also affected how they can play because of the low econ. Maybe you want some econ punishing. The thing though is like, imagine we were Hoshiko. We punish central runs. Like running HQ to draw a card is probably better. And if they're like, it's the same amount of pressure in a lot of ways. Anyone have a fun chat with their coworkers about how they were going to play a card game in Barcelona? Jeff, how did it go? Because like you're in a field in which I reckon there's a lot of people that play card games. Maybe not. I don't know. STEM does that. Like people play nerdy stuff. I mean, objectively, you see that as only costing 3 cards, but there's also the thinking and planning behind the hood where the corp needs to consider. For sure. I just like, I'd rather draw through my deck a bit faster. What if they shuffle back? Trank and your digital life. So they have a Spin Doctor in hand. They have 6 credits. I think now we have a fork between R&D and server 1, right? The problem is that we can't run server 1. So you must be really good, right? Right? Oh, you're traveling. You must, oh, you think you're going to win, huh? Right? Okay, Steel Skin. It's card draw. I think we just need money here. We need Cleaver and money. Unfortunately, if we hit a hug and it eats our Stargate too, which is pretty rough. So let's try and find our Cleaver so we can feel safe. Labor rights is a bit tricky. We've got through 1 Steel Skin, 2 Strike Funds. Might not be the best on tempo card. Asifar is really good. Also, if anyone would know me there. Hey, you had some nice answers to that though, right? I think we're going to throw out the second Carmen. Jaina takes some of the fun out of the mind games. That's true. When your opponent is sweating, it's for sure. So they have a Spin Doctor in hand. They have a lot of cards. Your digital life here is probably actually there was an incentive to run HQ, let's be honest, because they had 8 cards in hand they drew. The thing is with the Spin Doctor draw, they only drew 1 unknown card. So it wasn't amazing. But we could have gone HQ there. But the problem is like, if we don't find our Cleaver, we can't really face check. And we can't even solve our Cleaver until we find our Maw. Didn't teach you the right way to play. Mind games don't. I wouldn't go that far. You keep judging Raina's value by how many credits you tax, but it's not the best way to judge the value. It looks at the run where you didn't need to fully break Brawn and then run HQ and got an egg. I don't think it actually mattered that much. Right? Like the extra 1 credit off the Brawn res didn't mean that we didn't have to res H. If they res ice on HQ, we might have been happier because then they would have less money, right? Like it's weird. But that being said, would we have been better in a faster deck if we drew another 6 cards by now? Yeah, probably. I think our board state would have been better than theirs was detrimental. That's my secret. I'm always sweating. I think we're an A&R celebrity A-list at this point. Second, yeah, I'd say that. This is the benefits of working in a lab. My coworkers are super into Radlets and MTGs. They pretty much get it. Oh, super cool. We didn't DC, right? Just run Hoshika with Hijack, same credit tax, but also richer. Hijack is a really good card for a certain amount. I don't know if I'd bring it to Worlds, but like I have brought it to events. Oh, nice. Double Seamless Vitruvius with a counter. That means that YDL can come back. Seamless back in hand. So the win was in their mode server. So that could be a Spin Doctor. I think with 4 credits, we have an incentive to run HQ to see a Spin Doctor potentially. My DOS told me to tell her when I'm on stream. Hell yeah. Okay, so running this server. We can triple click through this if we need to. We probably don't need to. We can double click through it. This is 2 credits. They don't have any ice in their deck that they cost 0. So tread lightly guess in their mode server. I think there's a Spin Doctor probably in server 1. If we hit it on HQ on our first run, we can consider running back. But I'm worried about the Spin Doctor. If we hit the Spin Doctor here on HQ, we could consider tread lightly. So we'll just start here. Have to remember they have a Vitruvius counter, so they can do some pretty aggressive lines. Seamless. Okay. Can we afford to Stargate for 4 credits? I think we can. If it's a Spin Doctor, it's a Spin Doctor. But like 4 credits again with no, I feel like the fact that there's so much drafter, it's the most common sentry in the entire format. Like you need to have some support piece for Carmen. Trank, Mavirus, Hedge. I don't think we can deal with a Trank that easy. Okay, so still could be a Spin Doctor. We still don't have a Cleaver. They could easily score out to be on point here. We have 2 off-worlds though, so like Luminal is the worst case by a mile. Let's do that. I think this will pay out before the game's over. My combo's a little different, but also saying I'm going across the world to help judge is a bit silly. I think that's so cool to be like, oh, you're a judge. Yeah, I'm a referee at the world's level event. Like, that sounds cool. Helping judge an international event is really cool. Exactly, yeah. We'll help wife with some tasks. Happy stream. Have a great travel. Bye stream. Backloader, thanks so much. Enjoy the tasks. The best thing about Reina's lore? I didn't read the Reina book. Because FFG had a Reina book. Credit hedge fund, okay. Do you think it's worth running Mimic instead of Carmen? I think we're almost there. The problem is like Mimic has like problems, right? Like Anansi, obviously an issue. Stavka, obviously an issue. So there's reasons why you can't only run Mimic, but we're at the point that I think you can main deck Mimic and then like have a Noom as your extra option. Yeah. Yeah, Noom you want for the outfit matchup in general. So like, I don't think you can only do it, but I think it's a good starting spot. And then if you run like Ice Carver and or Leech and or Takobi, like I think you go a bit further. But breaking this for 4 sucks. Like we spent, I think 12 credits on their drafter, they res for 4. We can't do that. Still don't know what server 1 is. They have enough money. We can consider forcing them to res on HQ. I think that's the one server we can. Is there anything we break for less than 5? Probably an MIC, but if they res an MIC for 7, it's a good trade for us. In my Lime deck, I have a Mimic because Lime deals with the rest. Yeah, if you have like a support piece like that, I think you're okay. Mavirus will trash that. We've gone through most of our viruses. We just want to get some accesses here. We want to find the Spin Doctor. Meganet. Botulus is your best Sentry Breaker, let's be real. Nobody's playing Botulus anymore. Like, we just saw a Magnet, we saw a virus. I think that run specifically tells you why no one's playing it. I think that's a Spin Doctor. I think we have to outweight them, though. And luckily, with, like, Lib, we can outweight them. Mimic, Ika, and Arsana feel so good. Ref, how's it going? Yeah, maybe. I think that might actually be a good influence slot, because mostly you see, like, Ika and then Echelon, which has late-game scaling. But I think you might be right, that, like, Mimic is probably playable in that list. Because it's still hard with Ika or with Echelon to deal with an early drafter. Try bringing a drafter with Lamb, it's like 7, right? Botch has been terrible lately. Yeah, Botchless has been bad, but less people playing. I think people are still going to play Magnet. They might play less Mavirus. Okay. What do we know off the top of their deck? Trank and a hedge fund. So they have a hedge fund. So that still could be a Spin Doctor. Less likely. It's kind of wild how much people switch to Mavirus and Magnet weren't in the last meta. Yeah, I know. It's like we've hit peak Mavirus. They iced up HQ. That's interesting. I think we just still send a Stargate. Again, if they res a Hagen for 5 credits, whatever. When you think about what changed to make that happen. Ah, fuck. That's the worst case scenario by a mile because it trashes our Stargate. So we have no more multi-axis. Almost any non-berry gets broken by land for 7. Yeah. Largely. Okay, now we can run HQ. We will break this for 1 credit when it comes down, but again, 5 credits to run that. We have to win on singles. We're now on singles. You have labor rates? Yeah, we do, but like, they're on 1 credit. That's reasonable. I think they have an agenda in hand here if they're paying 4 here. On sell, okay. I really think there's a spin doctor still in there. Let us labor rates. Nice, we hit the strike fund. So we can shuffle 3 cards back. So I think we will do Stargate. What else do we want to get back? We can moshing this ice. Not great. I think we just want to get as much gas as we can. So like price, strike fund, cleaver. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then we can't do the price because hitting both of them are pretty bad. So maybe we just do a fermenter, seeing where one of my virus is so far. But I think they score out this turn. If that's not the spin. We have 2 more libs, so we don't need to go like click intensive money. I think we just a fermenter is fine. And we drew a maw. Okay, problem is with all these drafters, it's hard to get maw value. It's like genuinely difficult. Installing this means that we can't really contest the remote server. Pinhole? Oh, pinhole is actually a really good choice. Yeah, I regret not putting the pinhole back. That's way better because we can actually deal with this server. Like we just pinhole and they have to pop the spin doctor and the upgrade. So we get 2 for 1. Yeah, pinhole was way better there. That's our only labor rights. I'm going to feel bad about that for the rest of the game. Oh, we have 1 more. Never mind. We'll be fine. But yeah, pinhole is really, really good. Click for 3. All right. So, have to draw through our deck. All right, we did it. We did it, y'all. I don't want to show it right away. What does it matter? We have 14 cards left. So we let them res 2 ice in a turn with Reyna. You don't want to do that as much as possible. Reyna costs 4 credits now. 1, 2, yeah, 4 credits. Spin Doctor must be 80 years old. Yeah, and we're kind of in a cold war where we're hoping that they deal with it themselves because it's clearly camping the remote server. And I think they would fire the Spin Doctor because Spin Doctor drawing into a YDL is like kind of fire. Maybe they're waiting to naturally draw into a YDL so they can get 2 more cards clicklessly. Tread Lightly is going to hurt them. Yeah, it will. If it's an Anoetic, we have a problem though. But yeah, this Tread Lightly is going to be the one unfair thing we do. So luckily we just click through this and deal with that. But yeah, this card's 1 influence. Yes! We outlasted. If they hit a YDL here, though, we're in a bad spot. And they got to actually consider pulling one with Vitruvius. It might be the right play. Because it adds a card, and then they get, 6 credits? That seems important. We've seen only 1 Mana Garm. Ablative being online, also kind of relevant. Maybe we shouldn't have seen the Cleaver, but now they want to get another ice here. We cleave through the Hagen, and then another Hippo breaks through the Drafter. That's probably how we generate pressure here. The problem is, like, I don't think we can race them to win off of R&D. 9 cards left, though. Running HQ actually seems reasonable as well. But again, what we paid 16 credits to get through a drafter? Kind of messed up. That's kind of really messed up. Let's be honest. I don't like Carmen Unity that much. People love Carmen Unity. I don't get it. None of these breakers seem amazing. And yet it's the most commonly played cards. There's just nothing better. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if playing Buzzsaw is just fine. It's not like we ever boost to break the Gatekeeper. Yeah, they did it. They went for the YDL. Okay, that's good. What would you run to Carmen Unity? I'm not sure. Like Mimic Buzzsaw and then just play like Leech and Ice Carver. It's the best reg breaker out there. I would actually consider Shibboleth. I'd consider 1 Shibboleth, 1 Unity, maybe. Just because early Shibboleth for 1 seems like the thing you want to do. You break Magnet for 1 in the early game. I don't know. The rig is 1 Turbine away from being amazing. It's 1 Turbine away or 1 Takobi away from being okay. But then technically the Mimic build's even better. Like a 5 strength Mimic breaks just about every sentry. Not every sentry, but nearly. Carmen Unity was in vogue when the outfit was everywhere. I would argue that Carmen Unity was not even the best breaker suite into outfit. I'd rather play Noom into outfit any day of the week. Playing Influencer Unity is baffling to me unless you have a specific tech reason for like Valenchow. Buzz is so much better. Yeah, I agree. And like early game Valenchow breaking with Unity is a nightmare anyway. It's like just have more money than them. It's so much easier than installing a Unity for 3, then boosting 4 to 5 times and breaking 1 subroutine. Like it doesn't make sense. But Anansi is like, this deals with Anansi the best. But like if we're talking about Noom breaks it for 1 more credit. So like not a huge difference. Obviously 4 for Drafter the same is pretty bad. Spin Doctor for Digital Life and Hedge Fund. Hush it. Yeah, Hush is an option. Hush is definitely an option. Yeah, we'll see. Mimic Turbine? Yeah, Mimic Turbine. It's okay. Ice Carver's okay. Leech is okay. There's a couple options. I think they're deciding whether to jam here. Tithe makes Doom sad. You let the Tithe fire. But yeah, Tithe is actually relatively good into Carmen. Like Karuna is good into Carmen. There's like some really weird cards that are good into Carmen because Carmen is so ubiquitous. But again, Drafter is the biggest winner. And you cannot let Drafter fire. Like you just can't. Carmen made a lot of sense last meta. Right now it isn't great. Yeah, I think, no, it's all good. The fact that every HB deck is defined by 3 Mimic is, or sorry, 3 Drafters is like pretty important. All right, so 1 Seamless in hand, 1 in bin. They want to square the 5-3 into, you know, another 3-2. Just Benhar and Nancy, and just attack your representative. Carmen made a lot of sense when the Corp Boogeyman was killing Jinteki, yeah. Yeah, I think you might see some changes. I like the list that are like on 1 Carmen, 1 Noom. I think that's fine. Like 9 of them are good at Drafter, though. That's a problem. So you need 1 Leech. As soon as you have 1 Leech, like that's the thing. We could be running 1 Leech. As soon as we have 1 Leech, it's 2 credits to break. Right? Like I think you could play Carmen. I think you just need a small bit of support. Even just like playing 3 credits for an Ice Carver is fine. It is fine. Card and server 1? Card and server 1. Okay, we can no longer run that server. I don't think. Because Anoetic Mana Garm is too expensive. So now we have to win off Centrals. Running HQ for 4, too expensive. This is 1, 4. So we can maybe drop the Maw to go down to 6 credits. And then we have, okay, if we go down to 6 credits, this is 1. This is 4. That leaves us on not enough credits to steal Aqua. So if that's the case, we have to do Lib, Maw, run R&D. Potentially winning off a single, otherwise we get a Maw. I think that's the best we have here, but like it's so hard to push yourself forward. I will just deal with this so that we can threaten to deal with the next one. So we hit with that. Draw for Stargate, it's probably too slow. And like if we have a Stargate, we have to trash one of our breakers unless we install the Maw as well. So like we have to kind of do both because we have an MU issue, right? But Stargate's a 1 in 14 and we just can't spend clicking for draws here. It's way too slow. Hedge, okay, at least we get a Maw target. Hitting a Seamless is actually super relevant into this turn. So we know they have a hedge fund. Let's draw. Another Hippo. Okay, we can open up R&D if they score it. Monkey Wrench? Yeah, you could play Monkey Wrench. I wouldn't with that much Magnet, but you can play Monkey Wrench. I'd rather play Hush. But yeah, I don't know. Monkey Wrench is way too hard with the amount of magnets in the format. I think Ice Carver is just strictly better than Monkey Wrench and Anarch. I don't think -2 breakpoint actually matters for a lot of ice. But -1 helps a lot. So now they have a fork between scoring out and then we can just drop the Hippo and run. That was probably one of their better top decks here. And this is again, where if you have a Twinning or you have a Waken Plant, like you have accesses that are built in while you're setting up or doing the rest of your stuff. And so like all our multi-axes in the top 13. With Carver, Monkey Wrench is pretty bad, yes. And I think at some point we won't have Ice Carver considering it's a NSG, FFG card. So at some point it might seem better, but it's specifically in Anarch, not great. They have Hedge Fund, Unknown. Hi. Wide yellow, 14. Get another ice on R&D here. Advance, okay. They can't throw it out to win in this turn, I don't think. So we either steal an agenda or we get a Maw. We open up R&D. They have money to res. Border control, not good. We can check archives. We might as well. The border control hedge fund. A virus. Got a Seamless from hand. That actually is important. 2 Seamlesses in the bin. So if they have 1 Seamless, they can score at a 5-3. Border control in hand. We have to run HQ. Our money is entirely dried up. We're totally out of money. Oh, that's really bad. We have to like click for credits. They put 1 piece of ice there. Like we're in a really bad spot. I guess we could always tread lightly it, which is pretty funny. Pretty funny. I wonder if a deck like this too, like I think you're incentivized because you're running en passant to also run what's it called? Raindrops Cut Stone. Because Raindrops Cut Stone inherently is like the one card that is technically card draw, it's technically economy. It gives you a forward push to running, which like the problem with the deck is like we don't have a lot of good tempo forward runs that we can make without dirty laundry. But also it's the sort of ice that they don't res into. Because it's just like, damn, I don't want to you know, res into this draw 3, gain 3, whatever. So that's when you en passant them. I think it's a really, really natural include to a deck with en passant. Does it show my age that I always think of Deep Purple when I think of the World Hush? That's a music thing. But I don't know the album that much. That's what, Prince? All right, slowing them down. I do think running HQ is probably where it's at. At this point, if they fire an ablative and they get back a spin doctor, it's a really bad spot. So we have to force them to res. We should build an en passant deck. There's a really cool, well, it wasn't an en passant deck, but yeah, you can build an en passant deck. Raindrops into en passant is sick. It's so cool. Yeah, it's a really good combination. 3 cards in hand. They probably have an agenda in hand. The issue here is we have no way of generating economy besides like credit liberated. We can argue, it's very obvious that's way too slow for us. Like we overextended. We drastically overextended. The best they could do is double advance, like heaven forbid a luminal, and then they have clicks to jam into 5/3, and then they have 2 seamless in hand, and we lose next turn. What idea would you use for the en passant deck? Without thinking too heavily, Hoshiko is probably fine. Probably fine. This is really difficult. Like we just have run out of value. Hush Deep Purple Problem is the opposite of not knowing what based means. Yes. Los? I guess so, but then you're playing raindrops for 3 influence. That's not good. Like, I don't know what to do here. How do we get out of this hole? We have no money. We've ground to a stop. We have 1 sure gamble. I guess we could hit a labor rights into strike fund. Another cleaver. Not good. Draw. Yeah, this is rough. Just get lucky and find an agenda with 1 hit. I think that's what we have to do. Credit liberated. We probably should have. I was hoping to top deck into like a strike fund, I guess. Even a labor rights into strike fund would be good. In checking whether we had strike funds, we only had none in the list. So it's really hard to hit it when you only have 0 on the list. I would jam in Hippo, Chisel, Charm, kill all the ice. Yeah, I think you have to go aggressive on that front. Credit, tread lightly, R&D. I think if they hit it ablative, it's really bad for us because the spin doctor comes back, but I don't think we can play around it. Even credit. I think we need to get a liberated down or we have nothing because like they have to score out 2 agendas. So I think we just take a turn off to do this and then we tread lightly R&D. 8 credits is probably enough. Raising a gatekeeper is also kind of bad, but they only have 4 cards in R&D. They have a seamless, so they're going to try and win in a single turn. All right, that's one of these out. So now they have a click left to pull back a seamless. So now they install a remote server, we lose this turn. Why did we install a Maw? Because it actually helped because it hit a seamless out of hand. It actually was a really important line, and then we have 2 more MU. It was maybe a bit greedy, but it means that the run on R&D had it's the only multi-axis we have besides the Stargate. So the run R&D also gets a card from HQ. All right, so we will lose this turn. They have a seamless in hand, card in the remote server, 13 credits. So what can we do? We can force their credits down really heavily. So we can tread lightly R&D. If they res it's really bad, we either get, F it. As soon as they res an ablative though and get a spin doctor, we can no longer rely on Maw. Warrior on poor 6 points of mana seems good. Yeah, but then they have the remote server. Okay, so the first ice they res is 4 credits more. The next ice they res is 3 credits more. So the money can go fast, right? Like on average, that means they're resing their ice for 6 to 7 credits. Want to tread the remote server because it has an Anoic Managarm. We can't deal with it. First 6 are free. All right, single axis. Trank. We don't want to trash this. So now I think we need to run archives and then we run HQ. And that's the whole game. There's probably an agenda in hand. Some virus. We hit a seamless. All 3 seamlesses are out. So if that's the last off-world office, they don't win this turn, but it's likely not to be. So we just run HQ here. And we have maybe 1 shot because we can't run through the drafter twice. Magnet. Good. We have just enough. We can't steal Ikoa. I think we spent like 20 credits on drafters. Oh my god. Border control. We knew that. So we cannot make a good run here. We just take money, hope that they don't have it. There's a chance that we hit the seamless and it's a 4-2. That's the best case scenario. But otherwise, triple advance makes so much sense for the last Vitruvius or the last Illuminal. Doesn't PD usually only run 2 Vitruvius? Oh, that's true. It's 18 points. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Chilly right. It's probably only on 2. Drafter Echelon pilled me. I don't think you're happy to have Echelon early, but yeah, late game. Well, I think it is a 4-2 and we hit the seamless. So yeah, the Luminal is somewhere. They have a Trank in hand, a border control in hand. They're on 9 credits. Yeah, so this mod is Done good. It hit 2 seamlesses. I think we did hit it. I wonder if they could have just advanced last turn and not counted on keeping the seamless. Looks like it. My PD is typically a 3 off, 2 Vitruvius, 1 Lumil. Yeah, I totally forgot, right? It's a 44 card deck, so it's only on 18 points. Come on, advance it once. Credit. Yeah. I think we might have got it. Oh, no, never mind. Hold on. Breaking drafter for 5 with Echelon early? Yeah, it's turns out it's pretty bad. But ideally, like, you bridge that. It's all good. There's 2 Aqua hiding somewhere. There's only 1 because 1's in the score area, right? So that would be 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, so you're assuming there's an even amount of Aqua because generally Corp decks try and run, you know, an even amount of points. Yeah. So there's 1 Aqua somewhere that we want to respect. Probably looks like the off-world office in their remote server. We know border control in hand, Trank in hand. We know that this cost us 6 credits to run. Plot twisters and stagnants, everyone. Yeah. Oh man, I'd love to see it. Love to see it. It's 4 early, install a single leech. I think if we're playing leech, though, I'd be happy with Carmen. All right, there we go. So we need to maximize the number of accesses. They have Trank in hand. They have border control in hand. Anoetic, hard to deal with. Managar, Manoetic, we can't. So what we have to do here is we need a modicum of money. This is the only way we can generate money this turn. And we just run R&D. Summon quest complete. Be so easy. Gatekeeper. Interesting. So just to check, to break it's 4. If we break the Gatekeeper here, draw 3, then being an HQ, they'd have to at least shuffle 1 back. You can let Drafter 5 as the last click, but then they can install an agenda on the table and take it out of HQ. So I don't think we can. Okay, so let's talk about this. Gatekeeper gets you free R&D shuffles? Yeah. It forces the shuffle. No, it doesn't, because they have reveal nothing. Break the first time, not the second. I don't think it works like that. Reveal up to 3 agendas in HQ and then shuffle those agendas. If you reveal 0, are you forced to shuffle? So the thing is, like, how many cards did they draw with this? Because we can just let this fire, and then if they don't shuffle anything back, we run HQ. The problem is if they draw 3 and shuffle none back, they lose. It always shuffles. Oh, sick. Yeah, that's interesting. Now this drops us to 5, which is enough to deal with. There's no more drafters. We'll do it. They need, mind you, 3 cards to score out. I think there's a chance we don't break that. On sell. Sick. They're on exactly 3 credits. So this thing is pretty expensive. If we break on sell, we can't steal the last Ikawa. We can't force them to spend any more credits. So install a card from HQ Archives is not great. Because if there's a Rashida, we can't threaten their credits anymore. I don't think they're unganked. Runner cannot steal trash corp cards. That's obviously a problem. So it's either 5 credits or 2 clicks. So I think we just have to hope that it's... Ideally, we do this for 1 click. They can't fire Rashida, they deck out? No, that's true. Interesting. Thinking. Thumb long. Okay. Just break final sub. Yeah, I wonder what they install that would be an issue for us. Like, they could get a Mana Garm on R&D. If they res the Mana Garm, then we buy ourselves the turn. That's pretty fine. Click the last sub that we can steal Iqua. Yeah, I think that's the best case scenario is we just click the last sub and then just see what they install. If they trash one of our cards, though, like if they trash the Unity, we have 1 more Unity in the deck. Obviously, we can't draw into it. So... yeah. The last Iqua is the issue, because even if we click through this, if the Iqua is the top of R&D, we can steal it. But if it's from HQ, we can't steal it, and they win next turn. So we're playing around the Iqua being exactly the top card. There's an off-off in the remote server, yeah, we lose 100%. But the question is whether we want to let all of this fire and then run HQ, or click through 1, run HQ. I don't think we do. Because there's only 1 more agenda that's not Iqua, so it's 50-50% to be respect the Iqua. I guess we respect the Iqua. Imagine you installed Wheels. Yeah, but then we wouldn't have had money. Wheels was useless all game. It's a 50-50. Either it isn't or it is. I think it is a full 50-50 though. Yeah. If it's not the Ikoa, it's the other one we win. They trashed the Maw. That's telling. I think they have all the agendas in hand then. I didn't expect that. Why are we scared of the remote server? They can skunk void on 3 credits because we can't get through it on 5 credits. But they were not on 3 credits, mind you. They spent 10 on this run. Right? Like we can't run it anymore. They started the turn on 13 credits. What are they installing? You may. They don't have to. I think all the agendas are in HQ if they trash them all. The problem is 2, 3, 4, 5. We can't run HQ because they can install. It's a 50-50. Okay. Considering the Managarm R&D, I think I'm supposed to do. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they could install a Managarm on R&D for sure, but if they res that, they go down to 1, so we buy ourselves a whole turn. It's not a great turn, but it is a turn. And I think if they trash them all, they have something in HQ, so we just go, they click for 3 credits. Spin Doctor. That's a really good play, unless the last card's trashable. If that's the case, they just shovel with the Spin Doctor, though. So we lose. I think we should have played around that. Yeah, resing with the Spin Doctor is the problem here. Can we run HQ? We lose 100% of the time here. Yeah, I think we messed up the man cell. We should have thought through that a bit better. This is 2 credits. We're 1 credit short of the drafter. We obviously can't steal the Ikoa. We could break one of the subroutines, though. Yeah, so we have 1 run on HQ, which the only thing we can install is the Luminal. So we have to let half the drafter fire. If we let the whole drafter fire, they just install the Luminal on the table, which they 100% have in hand, and we can't steal the Ikoa. So we just have to rip the 1 and 8. It's our only play is rip a 1 and 8. That's all we got. I don't see the line that we failed to play around with the unsell. Can you explain? So I think we realized that they had everything in hand with the Spin Doctor, that it might not have been right. I think we might have been in a position that the better play would be to break the unsell and have a 50-50 here, right? Because they know what's in hand. So I think paying 5 and hoping the top of the deck is exactly the Luminal is probably better odds, because allowing them to fire this means that we have no % chance off of like if there's only 1 more agenda in the deck, they will have it in hand for sure, and then we can't get the Maw, so we only get 1 access. I think that's probably correct. I think that's the best case for us. Oh, sorry, I have to pay 2. Right? Because like them installing a Spin Doctor means it puts it to only 1 card in R&D. I guess the bottom card in R&D is just as good as the top card of R&D. But I feel like taking the 50-50, the top card of the deck is not Luminal, is probably a bit better for us. And then we have more clicks to, if the Maw fire, to check archives. I think that'd be better. Because, yeah, I think if we pay 5 here, we hit the top of R&D, so we have a chance of hitting a Luminal. If we don't, we hit the Maw, and then the Maw has a chance of being a Luminal. I think that was probably the most accesses we could have generated in a turn. So I think paying 5 was smart. So we can't let them install a card from HQ. Oh, sorry. Shame Hannah was on the board. Could have used extra click. Yeah, but we didn't have the credits. The extra click would have been okay that turn for sure. But like having us 2 credits less actually was a bigger problem. Spin Doc was from archives. Yeah. It was the last Spin Doctor that we trashed. That's the wrong sub. Yeah. No, I broke the wrong sub for sure. I should have trashed a program, not Maw, because I would get the DR install in case Maw hits. I'm not sure. Like them trashing the Maw could have been a mistake, but it means they obviously have agendas in hand. If they trash the Unity, like we can't run anymore. But if they had all the agendas in hand, then you can't. Yeah, I don't know. Trashing the Unity was objectively correct. Was it? Because if they had an agenda in hand, we could maw the agenda and run archives. Because if they had an agenda in hand and maw fired as a 1 in 5, now it's a 1 in 5 instead of a 1 in 8. But they didn't have the spin. The spin came off of the on-sell. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they did not have to trash the maw because if they mawed an agenda, it would have gone back into R&D. Yes, that is 100% correct. They should have trashed the Unity. So they gave us a 1 in 8. Yeah, but I do think we should have just broken this for 5 and we would have got 2 accesses. That's better. And then we don't allow them to control the game with Spin Doctor. You can install card. Did you? Cool. All right, we have a 1 in 8 because we can't steal the Icoa, so it's all by the Luminal. All right, good game. Beans. They're saying they trash the Unity, they can install Spin Doctor. Yeah, exactly, because they're not the same separate team. Yeah, good game. Yeah, that was a struggle. We had some very, very narrow lines, but like I think that's the big difference is the narrowness of the lines between Reina and between Hoshiko, kind of night or day. Like we would have had 7 more cards here by the end of the game, let alone we would have had better single accesses. Thanks for the game. Type 1. The 1, 2, 3 on progress is nice. Yeah. No, that charges them up. Oh, that's really good. Damn, I'm bad. Yeah, that was a good game at least. That was actually really fun. And it came down to some very, very important choices. But I'm heading to bed. Veronica, good night. Get some rest. Thanks for dropping in. How are we doing on the stream? I think actually that's going to be the last game for today. But yeah, I don't know. I think the Reina versus Hoshiko thing is different. Like, it's hard to tell because we didn't see their side. Admittedly, like, the game was credit perfect. Like, that's kind of interesting when you look at Reina. But I think the game is much more different when we draw more cards from our deck so we can set up clicklessly, right? Like, I think that's actually more valuable than the way that this looks like it results out to. So it's hard. It's weird to see that the runner board state 20 turns in. It's amazing how little board building happens in current Netrunner. I think it's the opposite. I think board building happens pretty aggressively in Netrunner. This is actually a pretty good board. The thing is, like, their economy, like, I don't think the HBPD economy is super robust because, like, the only big economy they play has Your Digital Life in it. And as compared to Asa Group, that is actually building this sort of board state in half the turns and then has cards like Fully Opt to Rebound, is like why I'm a big fan of Asa Group over PD, because you have so much more control over the game of what to do. Like here, they basically play, I wouldn't say it's a blank identity, but it's nearly a blank identity. You know, I don't know. I'm not a big PD fan. Obviously, it's been doing well, but I feel like it's so much similar to Asa, but less interesting and less potentially powerful. Especially with cards like Wage Workers are so powerful as well. Depends on the deck. There's a Darwin Intercontinental that was built a double turbine rig. Yeah, no, Sokka was on double turbine. It obviously, like, that's a big meta call. If you're playing into like Glacier, let alone in Shaper, maybe you have an extra slot that you can play double turbine. But yeah, double turbine, obviously very, very powerful if you're dealing with ice. I just don't know if ice is the biggest problem that decks have to answer in the meta right now. It could easily be, but right now in the meta, having the best rig to break ice, not the difference. Again, if we could just have 1 leech so we don't break Drafter for 4, we actually end up with like an extra 8 to 10 credits. What is beating Asa at the moment? I think good fundamental play can. I think pinhole threading is really important. Miss Bones' early aggression is really important. I think Criminal is really good into it because they can't really ice up archives and they can't ice up that much, especially they don't want to ice up centrals because that stops them from getting the forward momentum on the remote servers. So I think that's really interesting. I think inherently Asa is a pretty good matchup into Essa because there's a lot of recursions and defensive upgrades, and Essa can be a bit slow to deal with that sort of stuff. The Agenda Suite is relatively good as well. The ice is some of the best in the format if people are breaking, Drafter for 4 credits. What's your favorite runner right now? I see so much Hoshiko and Ares just seem to fallen off in a Jinteki public. I think a lot of people are testing publicly for Worlds. I think, like, I enjoy Hoshiko because I think Hoshiko is, like, inherently fun. You're interacting and it pushes you forward. I like that. I think Arasana is probably my favorite right now, but it's very, very tricky to play. But I would say Arasana is probably the most fun because it's so interaction based. Played PD and the idea was blank when Seamless are in the top 15 decks. I think you still just use like, PD to pull back a Rashida or like whatever, defensive upgrade, a border control if you really need to. It's not the worst. PD makes lap blank. Yeah, PD makes lap blank. That is, well, usually. But if that's the case, like, I don't think there's that much lat in any event that you really need to do that. But like, in theory, you can make a lap blank by just like, resing a Spin Doctor or dumping your hand aggressively. I don't think keeping lat blank is a reason why I would pick my ID. It's nice though. And if we're at like a meta that's like 60% lat, the same way Hoshiko is, yeah, I think you'd consider it a bit better. Hey, Sanjay, Sovereign Subways is November, and I've only played Ampere and Mercury since rotation. I can't subject my team to that. Why not? That means they can play any faction they want. That's perfect. Sanjay, how's it going, by the way? We went through the B stuff. Also, Diogene, how you doing? Coming back to Netrunner, the fact that ice isn't the problem is throwing me so bad. I'm used to DNA Tracker and Fairchild and Chthonium and stuff. This new world is scary. Yeah, it's not. So, like, it's interesting regression because it's not that the ice is the problem. It's not like if you face check into a bad, okay, it's half and half. You can face check into a bad ice and lose the game, but it's generally because the ice has more interesting text on it than just the subroutines are massive. And if you had breakers and money could break it. Like running into Magnet at the wrong time can potentially be game losing. Running into a drafter at the wrong time can be game losing. So I think it's a bit more interesting because it's more about timing than it is just about any board state where someone face checks into a DNA Tracker or a Fairchild 3, they lose the game on the spot. And so I think the game is actually more interesting because it's more about the puzzle than it is just about the raw numbers on a single card, which I love that a lot better. Like the idea is that you could run into a ping at the wrong time and it costs you the game, or an ablated barrier. That's so much more interesting to me than just be like the numbers on this are nonsense. And I don't want to run a lot because the ice cost me 11 credits to get through. But you can still install an off. Of course, seamless is better, but sometimes you just got to play the hand you're dealt. Yo, also the early game there that we like contested, got the Gatekeeper rezzed, we forced them to pay 4 credits with Reyna, and then we pinholed the Rashida. That's a really hard start to play the PD off of, and they still like limped through it. I think if people are face checking more, and you know what that means? Night Dancer, baby. Man, still legal card. The problem with if you res a Night Dancer turn 1, you can't score the agenda. But yeah, Sanjay, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I think MSC is a bit better, but man, this card maybe is actually worth considering. Like the big problem with Night Dancer is that not only is it not amazing, but people were breaking this for 3 credits with Black Orchestra. And I think there's a whole bunch of cards that are like, I wouldn't exactly endorse them, but probably should be reevaluated without Black Orchestra. Like the fact that Authenticator is more expensive to break. Like people can't Unity through Authenticator easily. That's kind of cool. So like people can't Unity through Night Dancer early. It just, unfortunately, it's a 6 credit card. Yeah. The only problem with Night Dancer is Blorch. Yeah. I'm really excited to see if there's a bunch more cards that are going to see more play once people like kind of adapt to the breaker suites, right? It's like people are playing more Drafter. Isn't that interesting? Like people were still playing Drafter, but now the fact that like other cards can come out, I think that's actually really cool. Yeah. And that's a big thing that we're saying, and maybe we're doing this on purpose just so that people can use this to their benefit. But like, there's almost no reason to not face check click 1 into the remote server against most HB decks. And so hopefully we're going to see more MICO worlds, and I will be proven wrong, and you'll be upset at me. At least that's a more exciting game. Totally makes sense. I'm still very much trying to figure out what tax means. Now I'm used to the sub value HB coasty decks, and I just haven't found my new version of that. I do really love new ice card text though. You're totally right. Yeah, it makes for much more interesting cards. Like read the text on this one, right? Sisontown PD coming up. Is that an option in the world survey? How many Sisontons we're going to see in the top cut? All right. I still have a lot of work to do today. We have a lot of videos to get exported and uploaded on the channel. So I'm going to call it now. I'm going to call it here. Firstly, everyone traveling the worlds, have a safe travel. Hopefully you're doing well. Come say hi. I'll be the person with my name on my shirt. Please come say hi. I might be wearing a mask. That's not a reason not to say hi. It's just that we're going on vacation right after and I don't want to get sick. Yeah, safe travels. Good luck to everyone who's playing in the event, who's organizing, who's judging. So much effort goes into this sort of thing. So like, even if you're at Worlds, giving a shout out to like the organizers, the volunteers, like it's so much effort from so many people. So the fact that this stuff happens is absolutely fantastic, and it requires a lot of effort from a lot of people that don't get their praises sung. So please come say hi, come say thanks, whatever you can to all those folks. Good luck at all your games. Enjoy the stream. Again, Null Signal Netrunners, the Twitch channel, link in the description. See you Worlds. Yo, Mondi, good to see you at Worlds. That's gonna be sick. Safe travels. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But that's it. Travel well. Get your bets in. Get that illegal gambling league up so you can call on the who's gonna win. Thanks for everything you do, Andre. Hey Sanjay, you too, man. Appreciate it. Enjoy. Thank you. Looking forward to meet you. Yeah, Zombie, come say hi for sure. See you soon. Yeah, Belly as well. Like, come say hi. Again, there's a lot of names that I know online, a lot of people that I might have met like at Worlds. I'm so worried about this that there's like people that came to say hi that I've met at like other tournaments, but like at Worlds last year, we're all wearing masks to be like, hey Andre, I met you. I'm like, hi. Please don't take that as a slight. Second place world winner on why they face check into a Kamali 1.0. Andre told me to. This thing does nothing on turn 1. You can do it. Actually, it does, right? Because you can't trash. Oh, 3 core damage turn 1. Let's go. Thule. Don't forget to say who you are, you sillies. Yeah, I think there'll be name tags. I'm assuming there'll be name tags, but you'll be able to find folks hopefully easy. I think there'll be lanyards just like last year. You put your name on it. Being silly is one of my best features though. Take care, everyone. Safe travels. With the channel won't be streaming until not next week, but the week after it. So we'll be back, I think, 2 weeks from now. So in 14 days, we'll be back. It's a Byroid. It's a Byroid. You can click through it. I would just take the core damage in PD matchup, but maybe that's why they have Ontos. Take care, y'all. See you, world.